listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this hump day? Thanks so much for getting over it with us here on the Florida Sports Network, thefloridasportsnetwork.com. It's my anniversary today, Mark.
Happy anniversary.
26 years.
Oh, good God.
For those unfamiliar, wife and I, over a decade ago, were on a cruise, and I said, hey, you know, coming up later this year, it'll be 15 years. And she went, 15 years? Oh, good God.
It's the only thing I can think of when the two of you celebrate an anniversary. The joy that your wife and the love and admiration she has for you. Oh, good God.
So she revealed to me the other day that, one, this whole 26 years together is just remarkable to her. That she's most days unbelieving of it. Not that like I'm so wonderful and, you know, what a great catch, but just apparently just the whole concept of a joint checking account.
You're cohabitating for 26 years.
Yes.
That's really what it is. It has nothing to do with her love or admiration for you. It's just the fact that 26 years later, you're still sharing a checking account.
Yes, that apparently is the most amazing thing that we've ever done. Not bringing a person into the world and raising her, and not coexisting, I think, pretty darn well, actually, for 26 years. It's apparently the fact that we have had a joint checking account that is the number one thing that we've been able to pull off. Huh.
I would have thought the daughter would be number one on the list.
Right. No, apparently, you know, just bada bing, bada boom. It was done, you know. That's
just nature, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Apparently that was a Tuesday night in Fargo. I don't know. So, but the joint checking account apparently is, man, like the eighth wonder of the world, according to my wife. Apparently that was something that she swore she would never do. Share her money with a man.
Thank goodness she did that.
Of course, my joke is, you're a social worker. You haven't had any money.
I'm going to say.
And I'm a sportscaster, and I haven't had any either. So I don't know how much sharing we're actually doing.
And it all started on Cheap Molson night.
Dollar Molson night. That's right. Thirsty's Lounge in Binghamton, New York. It was a Thursday night. Yep. I walked in the bar with a local news anchor here in Fort Myers. We were both working in the market at the same time together, Kelly Burns. We happened to, you know, be working together, and that's where we all congregated. There were three places, Mark, Thursday night in Binghamton, New York in the early 90s. Man, it was
go night. Don't kid yourself.
$3 Molson nights.
And you chose the place, Thirsty's,
right,
where you would now run into your bride of 26 years.
Right. She threatened to mace me. Mace me. First night I met her, she threatened to mace me. I wasn't even talking to her. Nah, she was hostile, Mark. Hostile.
Well, you've always liked that Jersey hot, David.
So that was a challenge worth taking right there. Threatened to mace me. I don't even know your name. Huh. All right. So that's how we're going to play it, huh?
I'm interested.
I don't know if I am, but I'm at least going to try to take this a little further. Let's see what's behind door number 2 here.
And you didn't get maced?
No.
For the record?
Did not get maced. No. Now, I mean, first time she met me, did not go well. At all. But apparently all of a sudden, second time, you know, she had a couple of Molsons. All of a sudden, I grabbed the Molsons at the bar. You know, Mark, me, just high roller, big spender, showed up with a $5 bill, got my 4 Molsons, left $1 tip, turned around. I was keeping 2 for myself. I was giving 2 to, 2 coworkers, and I turned around and she's like, "Hi." And I'm like, "Oh, a little less hostile this Thursday, are we?" So
just to think you could have gone to one of the 2 other establishments and this would have never happened.
exactly. And believe me, I thought about it.
The thing right now that I'm having the most trouble believing, your wife's biggest difficulty is that you guys have shared a checking account all this time.
Right. It's a momentous occasion.
And I know it was many, many years ago that you met her. Obviously, you've been married 26 years, you courted for a while and all that kind of good stuff. But the fact that both of you, because this was obviously after an 11 o'clock newscast that you went out.
Right. Absolutely.
The fact that both you and your wife were out after 11:30 on a weeknight.
Come on now.
I know, David, I know it's a long time ago. I get it.
We were in our 20s. Come on.
And I believe it for you because you're still trying to get used to doing mornings. We've only been doing them for a decade.
It's not a decade. We've been doing it 5 years. Come on.
And you're still not used to it.
Hell no. I spent the first 50 years of my life basically on a night schedule. At least the last 40 years of it I had.
But your wife seems like someone that's been going to bed at 8:30 most of her life.
Not at all. Not at all. She had game. She did. Now, I will say she lost game before I did. I mean, I, in fact, still have game. All right. And, honey, if you're listening, I love you madly. Wow. Has lost her game.
Oh, she hasn't had a lot of games since she's been in Southwest Florida.
No, she actually showed up with a little bit of game. All right. But it lost it very quickly. Very quickly. My wife
She adapted to where she lived. That's all.
There's no question about it. She moved to, the West Coast of Florida, and she became a senior citizen at the age of 29.
Nothing wrong with a 4:30 dinner.
Not at all. She's been a big fan many more years than I knew. Mm-hmm. So, anniversary today.
Well, good for you. Congratulations. Yeah. Congratulations to your wife. 26 years. Oh, good God.
And apparently, Steve, in our Twitch chat room, it's his anniversary today as well. 48 years.
Oh, good God. Congratulations, Steve.
Maybe that should be the poll question. When it's your anniversary, all right, what are the 3 words you think of? And one of the choices should be, oh, good God.
I love you.
Right.
We did it. Oh, good God.
Wow. Well played, my friend. Well played. Miller and Moulton on this Wednesday. Man, a lot happened on a Tuesday in June. Doesn't the sports world know that this is the time of the year where we're not supposed to be able to talk sports on a sports talk show? We're supposed to do, one of those fake questions, to kill 2-3 hours with.
No need.
No
need between the Live Tour, between what's going on in Cleveland right now. Not to mention there's actually baseball to talk about. That's, interesting.
People are getting fired.
People are getting hurt.
Tiger Woods making some news yesterday. Yeah. A lot going on. Got the hockey. Like we thought the Lightning were going to go away quietly. Didn't hear that on this show, even from this Rangers fan when they were up 2-0. It's like, it's probably going to be 2-2 going back to New York.
And last night was one of those games in which, halfway through the second period, the Rangers are leading the shots by 7-8 shots. And it's like, yeah, Tampa's controlling this game.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree with you. Shots at one point were like 18-11. And right. I'm like,
when I looked up and saw that, and I think I saw it right around the same time you did, and I went, well, that doesn't make any sense because that's not how this game's going in my eyes.
No. Mm-mm.
And it was shortly thereafter that Kucherov gets the breakaway goal to make it 2-0. And you go, well, that makes more sense.
Yeah, this could be over, in fact, at that moment. You're like, I don't know if they're getting 3. Certainly not in regulation. You're like, maybe they can force overtime at 2, but they're probably not getting 3 from here. But The Lightning doing what they had to do, and now they put the pressure back on the Rangers. They're also starting to beat the Rangers up a bit.
They are like a heavyweight champ in a fight. That game last night reminded me of a boxing match in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
That Tampa just kept jabbing, and every once in a while, they'd throw a right, and they'd connect with it. And whether it was on the attack trying to get a goal and putting pressure on, or hitting, or clogging up the neutral zone, they just seemed to take body shots at the Rangers throughout the game last night.
Yeah. They have figured the Rangers' plan A out, and they've adjusted to it, and they're taking it away. They did it to Toronto at the end of that series. They did it to the Panthers throughout that series, and it took them 2.5 games. I mean, let's be honest. For 2.5 games, Tampa was, I don't want to say on the ropes, but Tampa was going back to the corner, Mark. You want to use the boxing analogy. They were going back to the corner, and they're like, man, we just lost another round. Man, I'm fighting hard. I'm in shape. I'm ready to go. But, they just won another 10-9 round. And then all of a sudden, midway through game 3, the Lightning are like, all right, I think we got this figured out. We still got time, right? We can win this on points? Okay, let's go to work. And I feel like you keep sticking with the boxing analogy. They're inside. They're doing body work right now. They've just won 2-3 rounds, getting inside, going to the body. And now here we are. We're 4-4, 8 rounds into a 12-round championship fight here.
Really impressive performance by the Lightning last night.
Absolutely.
Championship-esque, dominant. It's why they're a 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion.
And I'm old enough to remember the last team to win 3 in a row. And that was the Islanders, who won 4 in a row and played for a 5th until Edmonton beat them in the finals. Because those great Edmonton teams never won 3 in a row. Won 2 in a row twice.
Steve Smith, right?
Yeah, exactly. Would have been 5 in a row in theory. But, Mario's Penguins won 2 in a row. The Wings won 2 in a row. Sid's Penguins won 2 in a row. But no one's been able to do 3. And if you're the Rangers, you better figure out a way to put a stake through these guys. Because they ain't going anywhere. They're the champion until proven otherwise. And you have not proven you could take them out. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Mark, we're playing golf.
Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com to sign up now.
I'd like to thank Budweiser, Twin Peaks, and Southwest Florida Golf Carts. Got some good stuff there. flgolfcarts.com.
Where are you going to go? floridasportsnetwork.com. Sign up for our tournament Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Your golf will include your foursome and a chance to have lunch and awards after.
Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So you're thinking NFL team, Premier Soccer Club, MLB plus NBA team?
Did you buy them both for that?
Yeah, you could. I mean, the Mets went for 2.4, so you could buy an MLB and a basketball team for sure for 4.65. I mean, you can't if it's the Yankees. I mean, you could put the Yankees actually, because the Yankees would probably cost close to that. How about that? A and B. NFL team, Yankees.
I like the multiple teams in there.
Oh, okay.
I really do.
Then go for it.
Because
Yeah.
I'd rather buy a country.
All right. How do we word that? Small island nations.
Anyone but a small.
C, Puerto Rico. I mean, how do we? Morning, Johnny Mac. And yeah, Coffin Ball. I mean, this. Oof. Whew. What a mess.
Walton family, right?
Yep. Rob Walton.
10 seconds. Keep losing.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. You can text the show if you never have before. It's simple. Text FSN Radio, all one word, FSN Radio to 21,000. And then that gets you through the text security gate. You can take in the show on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. If you're an Amazon Prime customer, Amazon owns Twitch. You've got a Twitch channel that you don't even know about. Make ours your channel of choice. Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. You can follow us, subscribe to us, watch us. It's pretty lively, especially during the commercial breaks. I mean, early in the morning, there's a little less talking than there is in the 7 and 8 o'clock hours. And that's when we're fired up and ready to go.
Usually get a dance from Felipe.
Right. There's one break a show where both of us go and, one will get water, the other may use the, facilities, and all of a sudden Felipe's like, oh, it's my opening. And then he runs from his little production studio. He runs over into this one. And by run, I mean about 6 steps. And then all of a sudden he just starts dancing.
Dancing or basketball moves or whatever it is he's trying to pull off.
Right.
But one of us will come back in and he's in here.
He is. Showing off a wardrobe of some kind.
You want to know something? If there was a mini hoop in here, I would never fall asleep.
Well, then I'm getting a mini hoop for tomorrow.
Okay.
Absolutely. Now, remember, though, at some points in time, we need you to stop hooping and come back and press a button or,
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I need to stay focused.
But that's okay. I mean,
hey, you're day to day. We know that, Felipe.
Right.
We know you're just buying time.
I'm Anthony Davis.
Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We're not making too much out of this Deshaun Watson story, are we?
No.
Okay.
Did you see the New York Times article?
Well, as a matter of fact, I did.
I don't know if we're making enough of a story of the Deshaun Watson story.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think Pat Kerwin's going to end up being right.
That there's going to be a double suspension, if you will. They're going to suspend him with the opportunity to continue to suspend him.
And, we love Pat, but Pat's not paying attention to Major League Baseball at all. I mean, he had no idea about Trevor Bauer and what went on and how baseball handled it and what have you. But Pat, going back to before the Browns acquired Deshaun Watson, he was of the belief, he's like, this is going to be messy. It's going to last a long time. And I have no idea when this guy's going to play again. And I don't think it's going to be soon.
And your idea for the Garoppolo for Baker Mayfield trade should probably happen yesterday. I'm just taking the Deshaun Watson, the sickening parts of some of these stories out of it and just focusing on the football. Because Cleveland's going to need a quarterback. I don't know if he plays for the Cleveland Browns this year.
Here's what I'm wondering. How about can we make a couple assumptions?
Sure.
And if you don't know, by the way, New York Times article came out yesterday, and they did a lot of research and found out that over a 17-month period of time that Deshaun had at least 66 different women, who gave him massages. And, some claim, no issues, no problems. But needless to say, there were a lot that did claim problems, including some who are not amongst the 24 now that have filed civil suits against him or tried to press criminal charges. Some of the people the New York Times talked to are people who have never spoken publicly before. And obviously it's every bit as messy and as sordid as you would think that it would be. It implies some wrongdoing even with the Houston Texans, that at least some members of the organization knew early on that there were some problems with Deshaun and some of the massage therapists. And, the organization yesterday said we were not aware of anything until March of 2021. Yet the New York Times has in their story that someone from the Texans organization gave Deshaun a non-disclosure agreement form in which he went back to one of the women and said, "Here, you need to sign this." So obviously something doesn't add up there. I don't think the Texans are going to get in any trouble, but it implies that this is even more of a mess than we think it is. But let's just assume, okay, this is it.
Yeah, table the Texans getting in trouble for another time, because I'm not so sure on that.
Okay. Let's just assume this is it, though. Do you think Browns fans will ever be able to look at Deshaun Watson and not see what they're seeing and thinking now?
Oh, yeah, they will. People will forgive if he wins. I honestly do believe that.
Okay. So you don't think that this is, because, let's face it, there are
there are some that will think that forever. I mean, come on, we both know people, David, that if we were in Cleveland and we were doing this show, Andy Baskin coming on from 92.3 The Fan, if we were doing his show, we know people in our circle that would be mad at us for doing what we do, talking about him, let alone never being able to support him. But the Brown fan, the diehard dog pound fan, they're going to be mad, but they get over it a lot more quickly than society might, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Because to me, that's ultimately the question here if I'm running the Browns. Is this guy ever going to be accepted as our quarterback? Or are people just going to look at him and see, like, there are people who are charged with crimes, who are found not guilty of the crimes, and yet people look at them badly the rest of their lives. I'm not going to make an OJ comparison here, but
make a Mike Vick comparison.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair comparison. It's obviously different things, but both reprehensible.
Now, I think what helped Vic very quickly is he actually did time. Like, Deshaun's not going to do any time, we don't think here. These are all just civil matters. He may win them for all we know. But at the end of the day, Mark, I'm trying to figure out, is he going to be accepted as the quarterback of that franchise by the fan base? Or is the fan base basically going to say to the team, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, but we can't have him as our quarterback?
I don't think they will. I think Cleveland is so desperate for winning that whenever his suspension is over and he plays, if he begins to win, I think the road to reconciliation will begin.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% positive on it, because every day that goes on, this is, that's what if you push me to one side, that's what I think will happen. But I'm not, pounding the table for it. I can tell you that much.
Because the court of public opinion is not a legal proceeding. I mean, you can be innocent in the court of law and be guilty in the court of public opinion. And with every day that's going by and more stuff coming out, it is difficult to see how the majority of Browns fans, never mind the rest of us, but how the majority of Browns fans are going to come to some sort of favorable conclusion about Deshaun Watson.
I don't know if they could ever come to a favorable conclusion. I think they could just allow him to be their quarterback if he's winning lots of games.
So you think the fan base is okay if their quarterback is basically a blankety blank?
I think they'll plug their nose and move on, if you know what I mean.
Just needs to beat the Steelers twice a year is what you're saying.
Be nice if he could get the Ravens twice, too.
3-1 against those two teams every year seems a minimum. Miller and Moulton starting fives next. Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All right, Jimmy Bird, I don't quite understand what you're saying. So you were a season ticket holder, old stadium, new stadium. The losing didn't bother you. You could care less about Deshaun Watson, but you dropped the Browns when they said they needed an adult. I'm confused. Well, no, RCB, the league is not going to do the Browns a solid like that. The Browns can try to avoid that contract, but the league won't.
I don't think they ever said Watson was an adult. And Baker is a child. And I like Baker.
I bet Progressive wants Baker to stay.
No. I think they're ready to move on from that.
Yeah, I think they're ready to move on.
True, they have enough commercials.
What's interesting, though, if you're Progressive, do you just take him off air for a year but keep him under contract, thinking that if he goes somewhere else and starts to play well again, then that's a whole new line of commercials you can do?
Send me the link, Jimmy, because I'm not going to spend a whole show looking it up. I've never seen that Cleveland called Deshaun Watson an adult and Baker Mayfield a child. But if they did, great.
Yeah, that's counter.
You're right. I'm not.
There's no way. I saw a tweet where it was like, the best player in NFL history, quote unquote, Aaron Donald, is making Kevin Love money. I'm disgusted.
Well, it's actually Mark Cannizzaro of the New York Post wrote a column yesterday that said, why can't the PGA Tour and the LIV Series coexist? And he pointed out that I know it's difficult for us mere mortals to understand, but when you look at how the Tigers and the Phils have actually been compensated over the years, and then you look at what NBA players make and what a lot of other, and you realize that the elite golfer is actually woefully underpaid. Woefully underpaid.
Yes.
In comparison to the people who are comparable in the other sports.
And it doesn't seem that way, but it is that way.
Right. And
They
Cannizzaro
make
said
so much more money in endorsements. The other end of the golfer,
right?
The elite golfer makes sick money endorsement wise. The Walton family purchased Denver Broncos for $4.5 billion. If you had $4.5 billion to spend, what would you rather own? An NFL team, an NBA and MLB team, an NBA, NHL, and MLS team?
I like it.
Right?
Wait, don't you hit send, did you?
I just did.
Okay.
I can delete it. What do you want? What do you want me to do?
Apparently, I guess the official price was 4.65. Right. It doesn't matter.
I will delete it and put it back up. What's the number?
4.65.
Ten seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. That'll get it done. You can go to floridasportsnetwork.com and vote in our poll question every day. And we are up and at 'em early, baby. We were talking about this even before the show. There's a lot of prep for Miller and Moulton right here.
Well, I have decided that we're going to do more communicating before the show.
Uh-oh.
Because we don't speak when we come in here. It's a couple of grunts. And then, one sits down, does his thing. One sits down, does his thing. And if I even offer, hey, what about a poll question? I get, right. And I get nothing back. Today I asked him about a poll question. He gave me a little something, and then he sat there for a minute and just didn't talk to me, as if he was offended that I asked him a question before 6 a.m.
That was not what was taking place. I can understand over the years why you would make that leap, but actually it was pre 6 a.m. The wires weren't touching yet. It took me a couple of moments sitting there grunting to actually think of a question, a viable question. And so I threw an idea out there and you took it and ran with it and came up with this.
I thought we did. I thought you had a lot to do with this, and I liked the question. But the Walton family purchased the Denver Broncos for $4.65 billion. If you had $4.65 billion to spend, what would you rather own? I wanted to get a small country on there, but we took that off.
Would have been fine with it. I was just trying to come up with a comparable nation. Greenland. It's not small, but it's insignificant.
So an NFL team is one choice, but for that money, you could buy an NBA and an MLB team.
That's right. You could.
Or you could get an NBA, an NHL, and an MLS team.
Wow. And probably still have money left over.
Probably could have put a Premier League team on there, but I just didn't. I felt like staying on the continent.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Because, yeah, I mean, Chelsea went for over 5. So for $4.65 billion, you could own about 85-90% of an elite soccer team.
And I get it. The Yankees, Dodgers, and Red Sox probably wouldn't apply to the NBA and MLB team. We're probably talking
the other 27 franchises.
Nuggets and Rockies.
Oh, yeah, you could definitely buy those two for $4.65 billion. I mean, you could probably have $1 billion left over.
Well, you're going to need some talent.
Well, you could buy the Avs. I mean, that's the poll question should be doing on sports radio in Denver. You got $4.65 billion laying around. Which would you rather have, the Broncos or the Nuggets, Rockies, and Avs?
The Broncos.
Okay.
The Broncos.
All right. So that's our poll question.
Yesterday's poll question, by the way, was about DJ, and it ended up being a lot closer than I thought. About DJ and Phil. It was about 54-46 at the end of the day, I think.
About basically, do you support?
To support them, yes.
So how about that? A little 55-45 action. It started out 2-1 against.
Right.
And the west coast of Florida, which is where this show airs, I mean, big golf markets. So that's interesting if by chance our representation is what the representation is out there. If so, that's not good news for the PGA Tour.
It is not. You're right.
PGA Tour is probably hoping for about 20 more percentage points there. Right now, time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, since we were just talking PGA Tour, Dustin Johnson resigned from the tour yesterday. Monday night, it turns out, Sergio Garcia, Charles Schwartzel, Louis Oosthuizen, and Brandon Grace all resigned from the PGA Tour. And the U.S. Open did come out yesterday, Mark, and say that anyone who is qualified for the U.S. Open who's playing in the LIV series in London this week, they can all play in the U.S. Open. And they released a statement, and I must admit, Mark, that unless they have a change of heart over the next 12 months, the statement does not bode well for the PGA Tour also. Because the U.S. Open said, hey, we're open. I mean, they did say we're not crazy about this competing thing, but the fact of the matter is we're an open golf tournament, and if you can qualify, then yeah, you can play.
I thought in reading the statement, though, that they hinted that they could change qualification regulations down the road. I thought they very much alluded to the fact that we're not going to do anything for this year, because that wouldn't be fair to everybody that's qualified, and we've already set the rules, and we're not going to change them. However, we can do whatever we want following this tournament this year. That's what I got out of that, David. I don't know about you.
The one immediate casualty, if you are resigning, like Dustin Johnson now is ineligible to represent the United States in President's Cups and Ryder Cups. Certainly the Ryder Cup. So, does this mean Schwartzel and Oosthuizen and Grace are now going to be ineligible for the President's Cup?
It's the way I take it.
And does this mean now Sergio will never play in the Ryder Cup again? I mean, because the European Tour, which is now called the DP World Tour, they have said we are going to be in lockstep with.
Haven't heard yet from that tour, but I would imagine, David, that these players have all played their last Ryder Cup matches.
Dustin Johnson went 5-0 in the Ryder Cup last fall. 5-0. 3 other golfers in the history of the Ryder Cup have gone 5-0 in a said cup. And no American had done it since Larry Nelson in 79, by the way.
I do think the fact that they call it sport washing, taking the money, the dirty money, Saudi money, and an AP reporter who had asked about this several times, tried to ask about it in the press conference and was removed from the press conference.
Was returned shortly thereafter, but that was a bad look.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, bad luck. Bad luck, no doubt about it. Tiger, by the way, yesterday said, I'm not playing the U.S. Open. I'm resting up for St. Andrews. I need more time. New York Times story yesterday said that during a 17-month period of time, Deshaun Watson received massages from at least 66 different therapists, all of whom female. Some of the women spoke publicly for the first time to the Times, disputing his insistence that he was only there seeking professional massage therapy. The Texans, according to the Times, helped arrange some of the massages and then furnished him with a non-disclosure agreement after at least one of the therapists threatened to expose his inappropriate behavior. Rusty Hardin, Deshaun Watson's lawyer, says his client, quote, continues to vehemently deny, unquote, all the allegations and everything that is accused of him in these civil suits. However, quote, when the real facts are known, this issue will appear in a very different light, unquote. Texans say, yeah, the first they heard about Deshaun Watson and any problems was March of last year. The New York Times story refutes that. Oh, yeah, the Broncos late last night officially sold to Rob Walton, the son of Walmart founder Sam Walton. He's the 17th richest person in the world, Mark. He's worth $70 billion. So he just peeled off $4.65 billion of it and has given it to the trust of the Bolin family, who owned the Broncos for all these years. Deebo Samuel, by the way, showed up at 49ers minicamp yesterday. DK Metcalf did not, however. So DK Metcalf wanting a new deal and is willing to risk the fines that go along with it. Lightning handled the Rangers pretty easily, 4-1. Lightning are 6-1 at home, 4-4 on the road. Going to have to win one game on the road if they are to advance to their third straight Stanley Cup final. Vasilevsky, 34 saves. Kucherov and Stamkos scored for Tampa Bay. Rangers just 2-7 on the road in these playoffs, but they are 8-1 at home, having won 8 in a row. Game 5 of this series, which is now tied at 2, is tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden. NBA Finals resumed tonight in Boston. Warriors and Celtics tied at 1. Celtics just 5-4 at home. Warriors are 3-4 on the road in the playoffs, but here's the interesting fact behind the number. Yes, they're 3-4 on the road, but they won the first road game in all 3 previous series. And obviously, this is their first road game in the NBA Finals. Will that trend continue? Celtics, by the way, are only 1-2 in the first home game of the 3 previous series they played, and that one was the dramatic layup at the buzzer to beat Brooklyn. Major League Baseball.
Trying to say the series is tonight?
Well, it seems as if the trends anyway say if you think the Warriors are going to get a game in Boston, tonight would be the night to play it. Angels, and you called this a couple days ago, you wondered, I was all on the Phillies firing Girardi, but you wondered, hey, would they fire Joe Madden? And I said, oh man, the owner hired him personally. Well, apparently the new GM went to the owner and said, I want to fire him. And Artie Moreno went, okay. So Joe Madden got fired after a 12-game losing streak by the Angels. He was in the final year of his contract. Phil Nevin steps in as interim manager. But the Angels blew a 5-3 lead to the Red Sox, lost in 10, 6-5. Trout homered in the first and then removed himself from the game with a groin injury in the third. Angels have lost 13 in a row. Red Sox have won 6 straight. Judge, Stanton, and Rizzo homered for the Yankees in a 10-4 win over the Twins. Taylor Wells hit a 2-on, 2-out, 3-run homer in the bottom of the 10th to beat the Cardinals 4-2 for the Rays. Miami bombed Washington 12-2. Jazz Chisholm with 2 homers, one of them a slam. All right, Felipe, you and I had an argument off air yesterday. It's Acuna, correct?
Correct.
Acuna.
The Enye. Acuna.
Right, because it's got a little squiggly on top of the end.
Correct.
Right. Acuna with 2 homers in a Braves 3-2 win over Oakland. Yu Darvish hit more Mets than he gave up hits to the Mets. He hit 3 Mets. He only gave up 2 hits in 7 shutout innings. Padres 7-0 over the Mets. Mets lead cut to 8. What are you laughing at?
The whole Acuna thing yesterday, to let people in on a little secret. David was not in the best of moods. I think this was Monday when the Acuna thing happened. You were in Baltimore. It wasn't yesterday here. It was actually when you were in Baltimore. And David got a little irritated with Felipe correcting him. And
Well, because I don't like the fact that he corrects us on air.
I-
You could just point something out off air. And so I knew by what he was saying, he was going to say this on air. And I said, you correct me on air, you're fired.
right. And I text Felipe sitting here during the show in all capital letters and said, he is dead blanking serious. Stop. Because sometimes, you know, I can be pretty hard on Felipe, but I forget things as quickly as I get angry. You, my elephant friend, will
Right.
remember for a while.
Right.
And that's why I just found that little diatribe funny. That's all.
Right.
I-
Well, we're teaching Felipe. There
I
are
know.
times in which, you kind of do this off air. There's on air stuff, there's off air stuff. The idea is to not make us look bad. We do enough of a job of that ourselves.
I understand it. And I was just merely, I know we're on Twitch, so the few people that are watching could see me. I just was
Right. No,
having
you
a
were
little-
laughing.
I was having
Right.
a little laugh just over to myself.
The Phillies won their 4th in a row. They hit 2 solo homers off Josh Hader in the 9th to beat the Brewers 3-2. That's a good win. Justin Verlander, 7 innings, a 1-run ball, 12 strikeouts. He's 7-2. I mean, right now he might win the
He's
Cy Young.
72 too.
I might win the Cy Young, for goodness sake. Baltimore 9-3 over the Cubs. Toronto beat the Royals. What do you say next manager to be fired? It's the guy in KC. They've lost 8 of 9. They have the worst record in baseball.
100%.
They're 17-37. They're supposed to be better than this, for goodness sake. 7-0 Jays. Cincinnati beat Arizona 14-8. They hit 4 homers, did the Reds. They are 17-13 since they said.
Where are you going to go?
White Sox shut out the Dodgers 4-0. Detroit 5-3 over the Pirates. Texas and Cleveland split a doubleheader. Colorado beat the Giants 5-3. And they did the draw for the Belmont yesterday. 8 horses in the race. Rich Stakes is the 3rd betting favorite. Is it Stakes, Strokes? I don't know.
Strike.
Strikes. That's it. I really have to write a little better. Rich Strike. Rich Strike.
Strike.
That's who won the Derby. Rich Strike.
Yes.
They're the 7-2 3rd betting favorite. And that was the starting 5. Miller and Moulton. I mean, if you want to correct us, just, do it during the commercial breaks. Follow us on Twitch and correct us. Can't fire you off air on Twitch.
Well, you can.
We'll try next.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark, we're playing golf.
Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com to sign up now.
I'd like to thank Budweiser, Twin Peaks, and Southwest Florida Golf Carts. Got some good stuff there. FLGolfCarts.com.
Where are you going to go? floridasportsnetwork.com. Sign up for our tournament Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Your golf will include your foursome and a chance to have lunch and awards after.
Sign up at FloridaSportsNetwork.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
But he's like, that's what I get this morning.
You should text him back and go, in some states, that's child abuse.
Okay, but Jimmy, if that's the first article that popped up here, no offense, but you just sent me an article that's a blog post, okay, that the title of the article says he's not an adult. No one from the team's associated with that quote. All I said is that I pay a decent amount of attention to this. I've not seen anybody from the team that called Deshaun Watson an adult. That's all.
I mean, I guess an adult can be a creep as well.
I'm looking for the article that and if it's there, it's there, Jimmy. You follow the Cleveland Browns far more closely than I do. But to tell me you're right, to tell me you're matter of fact right, and then send me a blog post, it doesn't really defend your story, sir. That's all.
Have we had a poll question of, does Deshaun Watson play an NFL game this season? Yes or no?
Not yet, but we will.
Coming up.
I really think that Trevor Bauer thing is forcing their hand, whether they want to say so publicly or not.
Well, with Trevor Bauer, was it just one girl or several?
Three.
But the crux of it was one.
Right.
The possible criminal charges was one. But Major League Baseball and others did an investigation and found that there are two others. That apparently this is how, he does sex with women.
They can't attack this. They're in bed with the NBA.
Also, let's face it, there was a time where we were okay with our athletes in our leagues being political. I mean, think about 60s and 70s and 80s, and now we are turned off by that.
I think it has a lot to do with social media, though.
Yeah, it could be.
Plaster it in people's faces 24/7.
I just think people now have come to the point where they don't want anybody's opinion unless it's the same one that they have.
And that's selfish.
But it's so easy with what you said with social media. You can align yourself and just be around like-minded people. You don't have to ever be around anybody that thinks differently than you anymore.
That's true. In a sense, it's divided us when it was meant to bring us together. So sad.
Who said it was meant to bring us together?
Well, connect us.
Okay. That's far different from bringing us together.
Right. We're coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Thanks for getting over it with us here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Lightning even up the series with the Rangers at 2 apiece. Winner to face the Avs for Lord Stanley's Cup. Game 3 NBA Finals tonight. Series shifts to Boston. Warriors and Celtics tied at a game apiece.
Figured out I'm becoming a pretty big Lightning fan. And it's bandwagon-esque. I've always had a soft spot for the Lightning. I worked for, as I'm wearing my Atlanta Knights t-shirt, their first AAA affiliate were the Atlanta Knights. My first professional hockey team that I worked for. So a lot of friends of mine, guys that played for the Knights team, would get called up. So and a lot of people that I actually worked with a couple of them went to work for the Lightning. So I've always had a soft spot for the Lightning, but I never found myself rooting for them. And throughout these playoffs, I told you in the Florida series, I looked down and my arm was moving after a goal, and I couldn't understand why.
The old fist pump?
Yeah, I gave it a little quick fist pump.
Like John Cooper behind the bench,
Just
little,
a little one.
Little one to the body there.
But I almost feel badly. Like last night, I found myself rooting, and I know you're a Ranger fan, and I'm not rooting against your team. It's not.
That's fine.
I just find myself rooting for the Lightning.
Right.
And I think it was when you and I we've been to a few games there, but we went back to back to a playoff game against Pittsburgh. I went to one as a reporter and another as a fan. And even my wife, who's a diehard Penguin fan, she sees the Lightning games and goes, man, I love going to games there. That place is great.
Yeah,
that's a great atmosphere.
It's awesome. That organization figured it out a long time ago. They put a good product there. That fan base in that area embraced it and has supported it for, a generation plus now. It is a great hockey market, I put it up with the established markets in the league.
What do they say, 200 and some odd straight sellouts?
Oh, yeah. Now? I mean, they've had like 6 years, I think, of consecutive sellouts, if not longer. It probably, if you take the pandemic out of the equation, whatever, it may go back close to when they first went to the finals with this group. That's the other thing, Mark. I could see where you and others, you've had the core of this group. It went all the way back to making the finals in 2015. Going through the Rangers, by the way, in the conference finals to get to that Stanley Cup final with this group. They obviously got to it and won it in 2004, but this group now, this is an 8-year run.
And that run started as my team that I've always rooted for was on their way down to hit rock bottom. The timing of, I root for the Red Wings. They have been on a decline. They're bad right now.
Right. They had a nice 25-year run for you.
They were still going at the end of this, but they were, you knew it watching it. You're going, well, they're getting older. This is about the end of this run. Maybe they can make a conference final type thing. Can they keep this playoff thing going? How much longer? But they were coinciding as they crisscrossed, if you will. But man, oh man, I never thought I'd be one of those people that started rooting for a team because of where I lived. And I will say one of the things, you and I both have a soft spot for the Rays. If you were to have it, you're a Mets fan, but your American League team is the Rays.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I'm a fan of well-run organizations. I am. I can.
Doesn't mean we root for them.
Right.
We're just fans of them. That's probably why.
I have been as pro Philadelphia Eagles as a kid who grew up as a New York Giants fan could be. I just think that they've really, for 25 years, had their you-know-what together. Obviously, they've only won 1 Super Bowl during that stretch and went to 2, but they've done a lot of winning, but I feel they've been a really good organization, acquiring people, acquiring front office staff. I mean, their organization's been raided in the last 5 years of front office people. I mean, the rest of the league thinks the same thing also. So, I mean, I wrote a column when I was a columnist a few years ago in which I basically said, the Tampa Bay Rays should be running everything. They should be running our government. They should be running other pro sports teams. I mean, and I did this tongue in cheek, but, at the time, for a while it was, what would Jesus do? WWJD. And I jokingly said, when it comes to sports and life, we should basically ask the question, what would the Rays do? Just like during the height of the Patriots thing, people would be like, what would Belichick do? Well, my thing was, what? You got an issue in your life, in your home, your city government, or with your favorite sports team. Just say, let's get some lunch and how do you think the Rays would handle this? And whatever you think the Rays would do, I say that we do that.
But they haven't won.
Doesn't matter.
I know it doesn't matter, but
No. It does not matter. It does not matter. You can't do more with less than what they've done.
It's true. You're right.
You can't. They've gotten 2 World Series in the last 15 years. 2 World Series. Are you serious? I mean, they've gone to more World Series in the last 15 years than the Yankees. I mean, it's unbelievable how well run that organization is. The guy running the Dodgers came from the Rays. The guy running the Red Sox came from the Rays. I mean, how much more do they have to do?
Just get over the hump. That's all.
And then ownership still tries to stifle it. I mean, that's the ironic part.
Right.
No, I mean, that's the amazing part is that ownership continually just kicks dirt
Right.
in front of the truck that's moving down the road. Let me try to slow you down a little bit more.
And the same people who are Lightning and Bucks fans are saying, Sternberg, if you sell it to somebody who we have a decent feeling about, we'll probably give this organization every damn thing they want. But we ain't giving you squat. Squat. You have managed to turn us against you despite everything that all the people under you have done.
And on the other side of this, the Lightning have run their franchise perfectly while spending the money.
Right.
They've not wasted any expense on players. By all accounts, everybody that works there is treated well. It's a good organization to work for. Not that the Rays are not.
I only asked just because, again, not a hockey guy. The Lightning, do they draft well?
Yeah.
They draft well. They acquire free agents well. They are a well-run organization, top to bottom. They have not made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. And the few years that they were bad in between winning the Stanley Cup in 2004 and then when they got really good again in the mid-2010s, they had a couple years where they were bad. And they drafted a couple guys named Stamkos and Hedman pretty high who are only going to the Hall of Fame. Stamkos with a chance, by the way. They win this. They go 3 in a row. Stamkos could start getting mentioned because he's got that C. And we've talked about this. This is the last sport where that means something. And they talk about leadership in the room and the C a lot in that sport. You win 3 in a row, and you are the unquestioned leader of that team. Going all the way back to the first of the 3, you played through something that was beyond an injury and scored the game-winning goal in the deciding game of the finals. Right. And now if they go and have this run, which is clearly going to be their toughest run.
And he's playing really well.
Yes, he is. And he's had a great year, 100-point year and the whole deal. Back to being a elite player again after a couple of injury-plagued years. And he's the captain of that team. They go 3 in a row and do something that hasn't been done in 40 years. Steven Stamkos starts entering in which we start talking about when we talk about Yzerman and we talk about Messier and we talk about legendary captains. Steven Stamkos is going to get mentioned if they win this one.
Speaking of Messier, did you see the pregame last night?
I did not.
So they're getting better, Levy, Messier, and Chelios. And they're interviewing Pat Maroon moments before the game.
Right.
And he's on the bench, and they're obviously in the studio. And Levy asks his question, and Messier goes to ask his, hey, Pat, Mess here.
Well, sometimes you can't tell
Here.
the voices and all. Does Gretzky do that? All right, did he do that on the TNT show?
I don't know. I've not seen any Q&As with. I've only seen one Q&A, and it was with Adam Foote. And he didn't say, because Foote was actually right there with him, so it wasn't anybody
Right
on headsets. It was former player. That's the only time I saw. But I do find it. I find it just kind of funny because it's Wayne Gretzky,
right.
and when they're all going Gretz, shouldn't you say Mr. Great One?
99. Hey, 99.
But it also shows you got the greatest player in the world, and he's comfortable hanging out. I don't think he's all that great on air, but when the banter goes, he's comfortable. You can tell he was comfortable in the room. You can tell the we part of hockey when you see the elite players and just how they don't really give a damn.
Right. Miller and Moulton. Lightning have evened it at 2. They head to New York. It's a best of 3. You got $20 right now. Who you putting it on?
Tampa.
Yeah. Well, we both picked Lightning in 6. I will say, though, and I said at the beginning of the series, if you were the Rangers, you would take 1-1-2-2. And I said that at the beginning of the series. So if you're the Rangers, you're 2-2 and you got home ice.
You haven't lost at home since game 1 of the first round.
In triple overtime, right.
I mean,
now I will say you're due to lose. You won 8 in a row.
I got you, but they're confident at home.
No doubt.
And you and I both thought going into the whoever they, when it was Carolina or the Rangers, we thought Carolina was going to win. We thought the Rangers were a tougher out for Tampa because of the goaltending.
Yes. And they have been, but Tampa's getting better with every game, and the Rangers are sliding. The Rangers have gone from 6 goals, and they keep going down. Their goal production has gone down every game. Tampa's goal production, 2, 2, 3, 4, even though it was an empty netter. Tampa's getting better in this series. The Rangers are getting worse.
And as you pointed out, the Rangers are getting beat up a little bit in this series.
They've lost 2 centers in the last 2 games.
Right. And Tampa has already gone through with Brandon Point. They had a couple nicky knack injuries in the series prior against Florida with some guys getting banged up. They're pretty healthy right now by all accounts.
Point skated again before the game. I think that Cooper's going to use him tactically when he needs him. Like if they lose game 5, I think he plays game 6. I think he's the jolt. He's the shot in the arm, and that Cooper's just holding him as long as he can. Doesn't need him right now. It's 2-2.
But a terrific win last night by Tampa Bay as they looked like the champions against the Rangers to even the series up at 2 games apiece.
Miller and Moulton. Andy Baskin from 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland will join us in 25 minutes here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang
at SWFL Golf Carts. FLGolfCarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, FLGolfCarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark, if the Cubs had come to Naples, our lives would have been totally different. Well, RCB, if they don't win Game 5, the answer is no.
I think it's could be over. Because I'm with you. I think they're due to lose a home game.
Yeah, they're definitely due to lose a home game. I mean, it's tough to envision that you're going to take out the Tampa Bay Lightning without winning one road game. But go Raiders, they definitely need to win at home. Because I don't think they can lose at home and win Game 6. I think if they win at home, they can win Game 6. But I don't think they can win Game 6 if they lose at home.
So apparently my mom has your love of the Royals too, because she was watching the Jubilee and telling me how great it was and all these acts. I started giving it to her.
Well, I don't watch any of the Jubilee stuff. I'm just interested.
Where was Andrew?
Wait, what?
I go, oh, why wasn't Andrew? Oh, she protected him. I go, and that's why I just started giving my mom shit. But go march, but support a pedophile. Okay?
Right.
Whatever you do.
Yeah, RCB, it just, the 9-day layoff hurt them. And it took them a couple games to get back to where they were 2 weeks earlier. And now they're back there again. And I don't think the Rangers can beat that team. That team is better than them. Like, I don't know what you think, but to me, the Lightning look bigger than the Rangers. They look a little thicker than the Rangers. They have more guys that I think.
Well, and like that kid line that had speed in games 1 and 2 is now starting to run into a flipping buzzsaw. They're starting to just run out of gas.
Well, and now they're getting hit because of it.
That's what
Yeah, the Lightning have diamond the middle. They're putting them to the outside, and then they're hitting them.
They're doing it. I mean, I will say, Chelios and Messier showing some of the neutral zones. I mean, Messier did a whole thing on the neutral zone in the first period. Like, they're trying to teach.
Right.
My biggest fear with Colorado is their goaltending.
Well, I will say, though, if Kadri can't come back, that's a big loss. That cheap shot by
Kane
could cost Colorado the cup. My fear for Colorado is Tampa Bay is going to do to them what the Islanders did to Edmonton the first time they played them in the finals. They won a bunch of one-goal games, and they just kind of, as Gretzky, the story you told from Gretzky yesterday, in which Gretzky and Messier and them, they kind of, when that finals was over, was like, I don't know if they're better than us, but they know how to play better than us. And that's what I think could happen to Colorado. I could see Tampa winning the series in 6 and Colorado in the handshake line going, God, I think we're better than them. How did this happen? I'll say this, Go Raiders. Nobody has a tandem like McKinnon and McCarr. I mean, they're amazing. It's another one that could look bad. They could give Yossi from Nashville the Norris.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. You know, I thought I'd be more excited about Game 3 of the NBA Finals than I am. And I thought America would be a little more excited about this Finals. And they're not. Ratings have been disappointing for the NBA Finals. Now, Felipe thinks it'd be different if it was the Heat, and that's laughable. But I think it's the style of play. I really do.
Hey, look at, they had a Sunday night game at 8 o'clock that I would have loved to have seen what that game would have done had there not been a blowout in the third quarter.
That's the other thing that I think has hurt the NBA, is that the hockey playoffs have been tremendous. So many taut games in all the series. I mean, the NBA, and this series could go 6 or 7, but
will we get a good game?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever made this point before, but I think that the difference is that the Heat have more likable personalities on their team.
That doesn't
No.
matter. They
don't.
You're going to have to accept something here, Felipe.
Yeah, you're wrong.
At 21, you're wrong. You're just
wrong.
plain wrong.
The Heat actually.
I actually thought you were going to make a point about the final.
Right.
As opposed to going back to the Miami Heat, which is irrelevant.
But one thing the NBA...
No, you honestly, on this one, you have to listen to us. First off, the Heat don't have anybody who's more likable. They don't. Nationwide, nobody gives a damn about anybody on the Miami Heat. Nationwide, nobody. 17 people in Philadelphia care about Jimmy Butler. That's it. The Heat do not have none of their players are national players. Kyle Lowry's national in Canada. Jimmy Butler's big in Miami and Philadelphia. All right. They are not a national team.
And while Boston doesn't have a national player either, they have two emerging stars. They're the Boston Celtics.
And trust me, the ratings would be far worse if it were the Heat. Far worse if they were the Heat. And you've got to accept that fact. And if you're not going to accept it, turn your mic off. Because this one we're right on.
And I understand, but I think that Jimmy Butler is just
What
a
part
meme.
What part of I understand, but do me a favor, turn your mic off.
We don't want you to turn your phones off.
No.
We'd like you to text the show. You can text the show by texting the keyword FSN Radio to 21,000, FSN Radio to 21,000.
But the 10 highest rated basketball games this year, 5 of them involved the Warriors and 5 of them involved the Celtics. And now the Warriors and Celtics are playing each other. And the ratings are disappointing. And if you're the NBA, you got to sit down at some point after this and go, wonder why that is. Now, hopefully for the NBA, we start to get some good games here. And 1-1 becomes 2-2. And then maybe Boston or, now they'll then go to Golden State for Game 5 and what have you. But it would be nice if they could give us some of the drama that the hockey has produced. Even though the NBA is outrating the hockey, but the quality of play right now in the NBA, the game's got to get a little better.
Yeah, it's clearly outrating the hockey, but it's not outrating what the finals want to be. They're not outrating themselves. That's the bigger problem. They're not comparing themselves to the NHL. They're comparing themselves to past numbers of the NBA, and they're not competing with them, which is surprising to the two of us.
Especially since it's Steph. People love Steph. And I think the Warriors wear more of the white hat than the black hat. I think they wore the black hat for that short time when KD joined them.
Although they've got the element because they've got both. You got Steph, who everybody likes, and you got Draymond, who 6 people like. You and I happen to be 2 of the 6 because we like blankety blanks out there.
Also, let's face it, Draymond's the guy that you hate when he's not on your team, but you think, boy, you know what our team could use? A Draymond Green.
Yeah, a Pat Maroon, a Draymond Green. There are certain guys you want on your team. He's one of them. No doubt there.
FloridaSportsNetwork.com is where you can go to vote on our poll question. The Broncos sold for $4.65 billion. That is the most amount of money that a North American franchise has sold for. $4.65 billion. Now, the guy who bought it's the 17th richest person in the world, Rob Walton, the son of former Walmart founder Sam Walton. But if you had $4.65 billion to throw around, we ask you, well, how would you spend it?
NFL team, NBA and MLB team, NBA, NHL, and MLS team. Right now, NFL team getting the majority of the votes.
I haven't voted yet.
I voted NFL team.
So you would buy an NFL team.
I don't need 2 headaches. I don't need 3 headaches. Just give me the one headache that's worth the most money. If I were to not pick NFL, I'd go NBA, NHL, and MLS because I'm bullish still on the MLS.
I know. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong. You're not, Felipe with the Heat argument, but is the MLS not living up to the status that you thought it would reach a half a dozen years ago?
It's exceeded it. The franchise values have gone through the roof in that time.
Okay, I could argue that about the NBA also. The NBA franchises have gone crazy. All of these franchises really are going crazy.
Percentage-wise, MLS, though, has exceeded the others.
But in terms of popularity in this country, I mean, there's no doubt about it. You were right. If you had the money 6-8 years ago when you were all in on, hey, I would buy into an MLS team, there's no doubt you'd be cashing in right now if you wanted to, and you would have doubled your money at least. But I don't sense that, there are times when the stock market's going crazy and we're all looking around going, why is the stock market going crazy? And I feel that that's kind of what's going on with the value of these sports franchises right now. I mean, yeah, okay, an MLS franchise has doubled in the last 6 to 8 years. I don't know that the MLS is a whole lot more popular, though.
I don't know if it is either. Actually, it is. You look at what's going on in Nashville with their new stadium and what they're doing there. Everybody that builds a new stadium, they're selling it out. They're doing really well. The play is going to continue to get better. They're going to continue to get some has-beens, and then I think it'll start coming where they get a few good players. I just think the league still has more upside to it. Like, I don't know if I don't know how much upside the NHL has to it. I don't know how much upside owning an MLB team has to it right now.
I'd buy 3 teams, though. I want more. I do. I would buy the NBA, the NHL, and the MLS. I'm more tempted to buy the MLB and NBA answer than I am the NFL answer. I mean, because I wouldn't go to the preseason games. I mean, what? I'm spending $4.65 billion for at most 9 games.
Just free agency alone for you should be enough, David.
Well, hell, I'd buy the job before I'd buy the team. Like if I was in Denver, I'd make a deal. Here we go for $4.65 billion. I'll buy the Nuggets. I'll buy the Avs. All right. Hell, I'll even buy the Rockies. And with the amount of money left over, can I be GM of the Broncos? Here, I'll pay you. Instead of you paying a few million a year for general manager, how about I give you $20 million a year and I run your team? What do you say?
I like your style, David. I really do.
Come on now. I know it sounds crazy, but think about it. I wouldn't have to do anything with the other 3 teams. I'd hire people to run those teams.
No, you'd be a hands-on owner.
No, I wouldn't. I know that shocks you, but no, I wouldn't.
Right up until the team started losing. Then you couldn't help yourself. Don't act like you could sit there and be a hands-off owner. I've known you a long time.
All right, every 3 weeks I'd have a meeting. I would. I'd sit down and be like, okay, Tell me what's going on.
Okay. You own the Angels and you lost 12 in a row. You'd be waiting for that 3-week meeting, or you'd be running in after loss 10?
Well, first off, I knew at the beginning of the year we weren't any good. When we were 27-17, I knew we were overachieving. But when the new GM came in and said, I'm going to fire Joe Madden, I'd go, yeah, I don't think so. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark, we're playing golf.
Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com to sign up now.
I'd like to thank Budweiser, Twin Peaks, and Southwest Florida Golf Carts. Got some good stuff there, flgolfcarts.com.
Where are you going to go? floridasportsnetwork.com. Sign up for our tournament Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Your golf will include your foursome and a chance to have lunch and awards after.
Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Now, I'll say this, Juancho, they're going to play Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So they've got a chance to establish a little something here with the audience.
Wednesday, Friday, Monday.
Really?
Wednesday, Friday, Monday.
Wow.
I was pissed
I
because I thought
bet.
Sunday would be another 8 o'clock, which, man, that was great. It was over before 11.
Wow. They never turn down a Sunday. They always play on Sunday.
I know.
They always went Wednesday, Friday, Sunday.
I know. And we said that, and someone in the chat room said, no, they're playing Monday. And I double-checked just to make sure he was right. And he was.
That means there's going to be no game on Sunday, including hockey. Because I'm pretty sure game 6
Saturday.
is Saturday.
Saturday, Tuesday, if there were a game 7.
Well, I will say this. If the Lightning Rangers go 7, game 7's on June 14th. It's the day the Rangers won the Cup.
Oh.
Wouldn't shock me if somehow, some way, the Rangers in Madison Square Garden try to drag Messier out of studio and have him in the building.
Oh.
I know we're a bunch of yahoos, but we tried to tell you the Rangers are not a good 5-on-5 team.
Are you going tonight? Everblades?
No. Uh-uh. There's a buddy of mine, former neighbor, who wants to go Friday. I told him I'd do it. He doesn't have much of a life. So after the show, I'm going to buy tickets.
No, the markets are not combined, Go Raiders. Television ratings are only U.S. ratings.
Now, they are combining TV and streaming nowadays, but they're not. See how much different he looks with a dark colored suit on? Same makeup. I mean, if they go close up again, look how much better he looks with a dark colored suit.
Yeah, he still looks like death warmed over, but I got you.
But
it's better than
the
it's
face.
Better than the
right. The face looks like it has more color now.
Yep.
I mean, that's the difference between the white and the
and
light brown that
yeah.
It just sucks all the color out of you.
No, baseball ratings do not include the Toronto market. National TV ratings only include the United States. That's it.
If it did, because Toronto would be a top 5 market, I think, in this country. Bless you. So what do you want to ask here?
A lot of things we were talking about, the fan base. I'm as curious what his calls are like tonight because we don't know any. He doesn't know anything more.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Seth Everett for his weekly visit 1 hour from now here on Miller and Moulton. Lightning even the series at 2 games apiece with the Rangers. Game 5 tomorrow night in New York. Game 3 NBA Finals tonight. Scene shifts to Boston. Celtics and Warriors tied at a game apiece. Andy Baskin, kind enough to join us once again from 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland. You can follow Andy on Twitter at Andy_Baskin. Andy, it's David and Mark. Top of the morning to you. How are you?
Hello, gentlemen. Hello. How are you?
Well, we're fine, but quite frankly, we're wondering how you and the staff and everybody who's just trying to go through life is in the greater Cleveland area with this story that's looming.
So let me just say this. I sit in my basement some days. I do radio shows down here. I've done my show from here. I do our podcast from here. I write newspaper articles, and there's a bird that flies into the window while I'm doing all of this stuff, especially for the last month. And the bird just keeps flying into the window over and over and over again. And I put pictures of owls up. I do all kinds of stuff to try to get this bird from not flying into the window. And it happens over and over again. And guess what? It's just like the Cleveland Browns. Drama keeps happening over and over and over again, much like the bird.
What kind of bird?
It's a good question. I'm not really. We have a bunch of different birds back here. I'm not quite sure.
I only ask because we had bird watching. As a kid, we had a cardinal that flew into our window for what seemed to be 2 years. It would just bang into the damn window over and over.
So. And Andy, Miller and Moulton have each had a woodpecker problem. All right. We've had woodpeckers that have attacked our house. So, we've if you need any help, we've had various remedies over the years.
I put this picture of the owl up against the window, and it worked for a long time. But I don't know. Maybe this bird just knows it's a picture. Unlike the Cleveland Browns, which can't figure out a way to get out of their own way. Oh, my God.
All right.
It's just one story after another.
I'm curious, Andy, because we don't know what the league's going to do. We don't know, how much there is there. The New York Times article is pretty damning. The 24th allegation's even more damning. But I'm just curious, what are you hearing? What are the callers saying? What is the public reaction right now of whether or not they want Deshaun Watson anymore?
I think they still, if it was just a football conversation, this town would be as excited as they were when LeBron came back. If it was just a football conversation. But it's not. It was like somebody was telling me the other day when, right after Watson signed, he was at a Cavaliers game. And normally, that would be one of those moments where they put him on the Jumbotron and the place goes crazy. They didn't put him on the Jumbotron. So it's just so... numb is the word that I use because, from an athletic standpoint, from a football standpoint, any team, almost every team in the league would want Deshaun Watson. But everything that's going on now makes you say, well, I don't know. Is this worth it? Is this worth I don't know if the Browns are sitting in Berea saying, oh, why did we do this? What were we thinking? And, then you get into the whole Baker Mayfield side of the story. So I'm numb. I'm absolutely numb to the fact that one of my listeners reminded me of this the other day. A year ago, this team was just a few plays away from getting to the AFC Championship. Now it's like, I don't even know what to think. It was for the first time since 1999 that we're actually talking about, if we can just get one more wide receiver in here, this might make a difference. Or, when Baker comes back next year, no one expected the injury to happen, and nobody expected him to fall on his face the way he did last year. Can they get him somewhere? Oh, man, if we can get OBJ up to speed, this thing's going to be great. But we get a shot for the Super Bowl. Then you fall short. Then you try to upgrade a quarterback. And it's just like it's like Jenga. It's like they didn't pull the entire tower down, but the middle of the tower and the top is gone.
Andy Baskin, 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland. Follow him on Twitter at Andy_Baskin. Andy, do you think, let's just say, and this is not the smartest assumption, but let's assume that this is as bad as it's going to be. The number is 24. The allegations are sorted, and clearly he's got some behavioral issues. Do you think that the fan base will accept him as their quarterback and as their leader? Or is this a guy that, the people that when you see them on TV or you run into them in your daily life, that you just look at them and you go, you're a scuzzball. Get away from me.
What's odd is winning cures all. And for a franchise that hasn't been to the Super Bowl, I wonder if winning will cure all if Deshaun Watson gets on the field and is able to help this team win. This is the first time I've ever questioned that. It's a weird, I don't think this is the end. When 23 and 24 dropped this week, no one was surprised. No one is surprised. They're like, oh, okay, here we go again. And then you get into the details of it, and it's an R or an X-rated movie. And according to the allegations, they're allegations again. And I think we do need to be cognizant that Deshaun Watson is saying that he's innocent and that the accusations are not founded. So I look at that, and I look at this whole story, and we're trying to piece it all together and figure it out. But I don't know that this is the end. Mike Florio was on our show yesterday, and he said, he used over 100 different massage therapists. And the New York Times is talking about 66 appointments that were made in the 17-month period. So I don't know if this is the end. We're nowhere near the end, I think, especially knowing that these cases aren't going to, if they don't settle, if Deshaun doesn't settle, that they're not going to happen until after the season. So get ready for another year of this.
How much flack are the Browns getting? They said they did their own investigation. Obviously, We all know that must not have been much of one. So how much heat are the Browns getting on all this, Andy?
It's starting to pick up a little bit more right now. It really wasn't bad at all until, I would probably say, I mean, it was bad from a standpoint of, oh my God, look at if you want to accept the allegations as guilt, then it was bad. If that's the way you perceive things towards the Browns, and people, I mean, there's well-known people out there that have said they gave up their season tickets because of what's going on here. Jim Tomey's wife, Andrea, who's a Cleveland native, had said that and got some backlash on social media. There are people that have dropped season tickets over this. There was a waiting list to get season tickets, so I don't know if the Browns were going in a panic mode over that. I don't know. I don't know where we're going to go from this. Again, it's just like I just don't think it's rock bottom. I think there's more to come.
Andy, we tried to play this story out just for 2022.
Sure.
I keep harping on the fact that week 8 is a Monday night football game in Cleveland in which the Browns are hosting the Bengals. And so I'm thinking, well, there's no way the NFL wants Deshaun Watson playing in that game. No way. So I'm thinking it's a minimum of 8 games he's going to miss. But now we're wondering, is Deshaun Watson going to become the Trevor Bauer of the National Football League? I mean, is this something that could last into 2023? And if that's the case, well, you can't win anything with Jacoby Brissett. So how many years are you guys willing to sacrifice for Deshaun Watson?
When we talked to Florio yesterday, he said, what if this goes on into 24? Does that affect the contract? Where, the Browns had said they did their due diligence. And let me go back on that other point too. I don't blame the Browns for not wanting to interview. I mean, they said that their legal team said, do not interview any of the women who are that have filed court proceedings or have filed a civil suit. Don't talk to them because that's not your place. That's not your role. Now, maybe the league did. And so I kind of understand where the Browns were on that case because let's be honest. I mean, we were talking about criminal actions at that point, and I don't think the Browns have any business meddling into what's going on with police or grand jury or things like that. So I didn't have any problem with the Browns saying that they didn't do any investigation with the folks that were or with the women that are filing suit. This thing could go on for a long time, and you're right. And what's really interesting is, and this is a totally football part of it, that the word at OTAs is that Deshaun Watson's getting all the reps and Jacoby Brissett isn't getting any, and I'm like, they're sitting here with a crystal ball, knowing that based on everything that's ever happened in the NFL on suspensions and fines and things like that, there's no way Deshaun Watson's not getting suspended, and we're all just waiting to hear what the NFL has to say about that. Why is Jacoby Brissett not taking more snaps at practice? I know he's a backup quarterback. I've heard that backup quarterbacks have to be ready in a moment's notice, but if you think you have this team, because by the way, the Browns have a pretty good roster this year. And if they can get a quarterback to facilitate the ball around the field a little bit better than Baker Mayfield did last year, they've got a good chance to make the playoffs again. And I really wish that we were in football mode and were able to talk about football. But when you start to walk down that road, you're always hindered by the fact that you don't know what's going to happen to Deshaun Watson. And is he going to play? Is he going to get suspended? Is he not going to get suspended? Is he going to settle? Is he going to? And so it's this tremendous brick wall in front of trying to get into the football aspect of it.
Andy, you said numb. It sounds like also tired could be a word to describe the entire Cleveland fan base, right? I mean, your voice sounds tired of talking about this, and it's the only thing out there to talk about. And until the NFL gives us some sort of resolution, it doesn't go away. But basically, back to what David said, do you have any thoughts? We keep bringing the Trevor Bauer story up. Do you think he's going to be the NFL's Trevor Bauer?
This thing was going 10 games. I thought he was going to be out for 10. And by the way, there's a reason the NFL didn't give the Browns too many primetime games this year. They just have 2. Think about that. The Browns, coming off a year where they probably should be a playoff contender, only got 2 primetime games. So the league knew something was going on here. Otherwise, they would have wanted to showcase this team and put them in a different light. But you are right. I mean, we are. I talked to like Daryl Ryder, who's our Browns beat reporter, who I do our podcast with. I mean, we're at the point now too where you also have to watch every word you're saying, because I don't. You have to respect the legal part of this too, where Deshaun is saying he's innocent, and I think you have to say that every time. But the stories keep piling up, and it just seems harder and harder to believe. The one thing that we know is true is that he has used multiple massage therapists. What his philosophy or what his mental thought is, I know the accusations are, but I don't know what Deshaun thinks. And so, just from a journalistic side of this, I want to hear more from Deshaun and what he was saying and what he thinks. And it's just, man, I mean, you got 24 lawsuits against you. Florida was saying that he used more than 100 massage therapists, and then Jenny Brennis in the Times is saying 66 different appointments with different, and then you've got Houston had this hotel for him. If you go and read hotel and spa, so I mean, how culpable is Houston behind this thing too? And if they knew all this stuff and they were doing that and they were using their security team to have him, have the massage therapists sign DNAs after that, or DNA non-disclosure. I think I said that wrong. Non-disclosure agreements on what's going on. I'm like, how much did Houston know before they traded him? That's my question. And knowing that they would trade somebody that this is going on, so now you wonder, well, did the Browns have that information from Houston? Did they know? I would hope they did. They said they did their due diligence. I don't know. At the end of the day, I think the Browns are out the draft picks, and we'll see what happens with the contract, especially if it bleeds into 2024. But at the end of the day, you're 100% right. I think here in Cleveland, we're tired of it, and we wish we weren't in this situation. I have to talk about it every day.
Andy, we're up against a hard break in 60 seconds.
Sure.
Very quickly, Miller and Moulton think that the Browns should trade Baker to the Niners for Garoppolo. It cost them $6 million more against their cap, but that Jimmy G would accept the 1 year filling in for Deshaun. We don't think Baker's mature enough to come in and do it. If the Browns saved face for 2022 and made that deal, what do you think?
I suggested that day one. You guys are right on. I'd love to have Jimmy G here for a year, at least a year. And then who knows? I mean, if the suspension's more than that, maybe you sign a long-term deal with Jimmy G. I don't know. I mean, their cap numbers they still have room under the cap to do some stuff. So
right.
You're right. I think you guys are thinking in the right direction.
Andy, thanks for making time for us. Good luck with the bird. And good luck dealing with this. All the best to you and the family. Andy Baskin, 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland. Follow him on Twitter at Andy_Baskin, Baskin. Andy Baskin, 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland.
Sounds tired, and not because we're doing an interview before 8 a.m.
And he's got 2 other interviews to do for radio stations before his midday show.
Right.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening to Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com.
Mark, we're playing golf.
Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com to sign up now.
I'd like to thank Budweiser, Twin Peaks, and Southwest Florida Golf Carts. I got some good stuff there. FLGolfCarts.com.
Where are you going to go? floridasportsnetwork.com. Sign up for our tournament Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Your golf will include your foursome and a chance to have lunch and awards after.
Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I was reading an article in the Score, not an article, but a list. I thought it might be a segment, but it could be. But basically, it listed every team who's never won a Super Bowl in order of who's got the best shot to win one. You know, it obviously starts with the Bills, but they got the Chargers ahead of the Bengals.
Yeah,
Like, what?
how you doing over there,
David?
I've collected data, but I'm afraid to show it.
Whoa,
John Orand retweeted that too.
who's reporting that?
The Telegraph Sport out of the UK, but John Orand,
Ourand.
yeah, he retweeted it.
Yeah.
Reporting what?
That Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Reed are also joining the LIV series.
Whoa.
Now, see, Patrick Reed's not a surprise. Patrick Reed was being whispered about in the last couple months.
But DeChambeau.
Well, DeChambeau was being mentioned when Phil's comments came out. And then DeChambeau, like DJ and others, backed away in a huge way.
I don't have this from anybody else for the record.
Sabrina. She went 10 for 11 in that game.
Yeah, she's really good and they're really bad, which makes no sense. So no one else is. That's the Telegraph, though. That's a major newspaper in the UK.
Yes. I'm just looking for something else.
Right.
Oh, Chilena.
That's just a little iffy to go on. You know what I mean?
Right.
This dude's had some pretty amazing catches this year.
This is in the Telegraph. do all this. Let's just do that. You got to pay to get this article, and I'm not paying to get it. Wait a minute. There we go. Prices, yeah. Have announced me.
By the way, Drew Brees.
10
out.
seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. On this hump day, the 8th of June, happens to be my anniversary, 26 years with my bride. I'm a very lucky man. She is, just put up with me, tolerated me. I mean, once she made the commitment to get the joint checking account, apparently that's it. She was locked in.
In case you're just joining us, that is the most significant part of 26 years, according to David's wife. Not to David.
Right.
Beautiful daughter, now a grandchild. I
Right.
mean, they've done very well. They raised a great kid. They now have a grandchild. They've done pretty well for themselves as a family.
Yeah, I think we have been very good parents, and I think that we're better than average as far as married couples go. You'd have to consider that, right?
You're better than average because you're still married and it's 26 years.
Right.
That just by itself makes you better than average.
And I would say of the 26, probably 20 happy ones. So, I think, we're doing okay. We're doing pretty well, actually.
But to David's point, the wife most impressed about the joint checking account.
Right, because she apparently trusted men that little that she vowed she would never, ever get a joint checking account. So little did I realize, Mark, that is apparently the greatest thing I've been able to accomplish here. To have earned her faith and trust enough that we share the money. Which is funny because the way I see it, I just throw the money on the table. She's got it all. I mean, occasionally I go to the ATM, I take out $40, $60, but happy anniversary, honey. Love you. And by the way, thanks for listening. There's a little something going on out there. First of all, the Broncos were sold for $4.65 billion. Billion. That's the most amount of money that any North American franchise has ever been sold for. And to give you an idea as to A, where these two franchises rank, but also B, how quickly things are escalating in that stratosphere. Mark, it was just 4 years ago the Carolina Panthers were sold. And they were sold for half that. I mean, almost to the penny, half that.
Right.
And that was the most lucrative NFL acquisition that had ever happened. For half of $4.65 billion. And the Broncos were valued as somewhere around the 10th most valuable NFL franchise before they went on sale. And so the $4.65 billion led to our poll question, floridasportsnetwork.com. Basically, if you had the money, how would you spend it? Would you buy an NFL team? Would you buy a Major League Baseball and NBA franchise? So you'd own two teams. Or, hell, own an NBA team, an NHL team, and an MLS team.
You get the Mets, the Jazz, and the Coyotes for less than the Broncos. Their recent purchase price. The Mets went for $2.4 billion. The Jazz went for $1.6. So there's your four. The Coyotes went for $300 million.
Mark, you could buy the three teams I believe in Phoenix. I really do. I think you could buy the Suns, the Diamondbacks, and the Coyotes, not the Cardinals, but I think you could, for $4.65 billion in Phoenix, you could own the Major League Baseball, NBA, and hockey franchises
and have money left over.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you could do that in half the NFL cities in America.
The Islanders are the most expensive recently sold NHL franchise. They were sold in 2018 for $485 million. The Hurricanes were sold the same year for a little less. The Coyotes were sold in 2019 for $300 million. So basically $500 million
Get you an NHL team.
Any team not named the Canadians,
The Rangers, the Bruins, the
Leafs.
Blackhawks, right.
Right.
You know, we got about 6-8 franchises that would go for more than $500 million, but basically $500 million gets you an NHL team.
Anyone you want.
An NBA team, the Clippers were $2 billion. The T-Wolves were 1.6, I think.
The Rockets were 2.2. The Nets were 2.3.
Okay, so say $2 billion for an NBA team.
And it might be 2.5 now.
It might be. But let's just say $2 billion. So $500 million for an NHL team, $2 billion for an NBA team. So we're at $2.5 billion. That means we got $2.15 billion to buy a Major League Baseball franchise with.
And if you're not buying New York or LA teams, if you know what I mean, you're not going to be able to buy a big market. If the Mets went for 2.4, I would say there's 8 franchises you couldn't buy in baseball. Maybe 10.
But I mean, think about it. I mean, in Miami alone, take the Dolphins out of the equation. I mean, the Heat would go, this is where Felipe's right. The Heat actually would be, I think, a pretty valuable NBA franchise.
Very valuable.
I would put the Heat at $2.5 billion. I go high with the Heat at that. They would jump the Clippers and they would jump the Brooklyn Nets. I think the Heat would go for $2.5 billion. Okay. The Panthers.
They'd probably try to give them to you.
I mean,
they're probably worth a little bit. I know they have the building. There's some
500
inventory.
So let's go $500 million then.
Right.
So now we're at $3 billion.
Well, the Marlins were sold for $1.2 billion 5 years ago.
Right. So there you go. 4.2. And whatever. The Marlins guy wants to make a little money. Fine. We throw him an extra 100 or so million. Thing. Anyway, you can buy the Marlins, the Panthers, and the Heat for what the Broncos just went for.
Yes.
And that's with everybody getting.
I'd rather have the Broncos. Means I got to own the Marlins and the Panthers? Are you kidding me?
What if it was in Miami, though? Would you rather own the Dolphins?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
By the way, right now, you think the Dolphins would go for more or less than 465? Are the Dolphins more valuable than the Broncos?
I
Yes
think
or
less.
no?
I think they're less.
I'm going to say less.
Well, I understand that, but when Tom Brady and his group come in and buy the Dolphins, do you think they'll pay more or less than 4.65?
Tom won't. Others would. I mean, he's
he's like Jeter.
He gets the Michigan man discount.
Right. Oh, no. Well, I don't know if Ross will take the discount. I think he'll just say to Brady, I'll give you controlling whatever. You only have to put about $27 into it, though. That's, a little something.
4.6 is a lot. That is a lot.
Yes, 465. The guy who bought the team, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, he's the son of Walmart founder Sam Walton. It's Rob Walton. He's the 17th richest person, according to Forbes magazine, on the planet. He's worth $70 billion. Now, think about that. All right. So this is, most people are saying this is a cash deal, 4.65. So you peel off 4.65. You've got 70. Think about that. You buy the Broncos. Wow, that must have set you back a lot. How you doing? Well, I still got 65 in the bank. And change if you want to go on vacation. Go to Monaco, take in the Grand Prix if you want. But I mean, what's that? I mean, I'm trying to figure out his net worth. I mean, 1/14, that's 7%. I mean, this guy peeled off less than 7% to buy the Broncos.
You're not making this easier. You're making this harder on the rest of us. You know that, don't you?
So I will say, eventually, some of the franchises that we hold up as royalty in this country are going to come up for sale. I mean, will Jerry, when he passes away, Stephen and the family will get it. I mean, they will be inundated with offers.
Stephen will keep it.
Somebody offers you 10, because that's what I think. I mean, if the Broncos are 4.65, I think the Cowboys are double. Well, that's 9.3. So you might as well round it up. Mark, somebody calls you up, offers you 10.
You're asking the wrong guy. There isn't anything I wouldn't sell, David. You know that. Outside of my wife and child, everything's for sale.
Okay. I don't want to get punched in the mouth here, but if somebody called you up for your wife and the child and offered you 10,
could I sell the wife for 5? I'm kidding, honey. I love you.
She's not listening.
That's for sure. There are podcasts, though, and I got to make sure there's a quick disclaimer at the end of that.
I do
Someone
think, though,
could clip and send.
I do think, though, that answer now makes this segment an early nomination for the next best of. But anyway, that's our poll question. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Just trying to have some fun with the whole $4.65 billion.
Most everybody going NFL, by the way. It's like 77% of the votes are for NFL team.
Interesting.
It's not to me. I'm not surprised at all. It's the NFL.
Here's the thing. If you're owning 3 franchises, it's hard to focus on one.
Who says you have to focus? You pay others to focus.
Who says this is even a real question? You're putting a lot of thought into something that's a
I
poll
know.
question about having. I mean, there is a prerequisite for this. You've got to have the $4.65 billion.
I'm just looking for more things to do, to be honest with you. That's another reason why I'm buying as many damn teams as I can.
I'm with you. I'd buy 3 teams.
You know, Mark, I'm big in the suites. I love me some Sweet Life. I've been in suites like 4 times in my life. I think they're phenomenal.
And you're so close to them all the time now.
I know.
You basically live in the small apartment. You basically are in the apartment above the garage with the mansion right next to you. The problem is you can't ever go inside the mansion.
Well, here's the funny thing. In SoFi, all right, the press box is actually in front of a huge collective area where all the suite holders eat and drink and talk and what have you. And so that's where we go pregame and then at halftime to get our food. So, I mean, you know, before the Patriots played the Rams a couple years ago on a Thursday night, and literally it was, you know, a few of us schleps from the booth and Robert Kraft, okay, sharing the same food and drink and talking about life and the pursuit of happiness. And you know me, I'm looking around going, holy mackerel, what am I doing here? Hello, Mr. Kraft. Some stadium they got here, huh?
Just dismissing the questions I want to ask in lieu of everything that's going on right now.
I understand, but it's a little different when you're in front of them.
Right. A few hand gestures made while you're eating your dinner.
Alrighty then. Okay. Remember, he does have security, you know. They're not very far away. So that's our poll question. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Have as much fun with it as you want.
When we come back, there is some more golf news.
Wow. Is there?
We will explain on the other side. But the LIV Tour is not going away without a fight. We'll explain when we come back. Seth Everett in 20 minutes. Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark, we're playing golf.
Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Go to FloridaSportsNetwork.com to sign up now.
I'd like to thank Budweiser, Twin Peaks, and Southwest Florida Golf Carts. Got some good stuff there. FLGolfCarts.com.
Where are you going to go? FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Sign up for our tournament Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Your golf will include your foursome and a chance to have lunch and awards after.
Sign up at FloridaSportsNetwork.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Reed?
So I've seen them not listed, and I've seen them listed. He's listed because there's odds on him. He's in it. Sporty. Come on, we thought he'd be one of those.
Oh, yeah. No, he's not in it.
He's not.
I'm looking at the field right now on PGAtour.com.
And yet there were odds. I just read a CBS Sports story from 11 hours ago that listed his odds.
Okay, well. Here's something I want to look at. Players, I just want to see something here. Player directory. Just want to see something. Dustin Johnson's still listed on their website for the record. So's Phil. He didn't resign, though. Kevin Na is still listed as an active player. I mean, that is interesting.
I'm on the Canadian Open site. They list Patrick Reed as in the field. As of Sunday afternoon, the story that I'm looking at.
All right, I'm hitting the button that says Canadian Open Field. Do this again. Go down to the R's. He's not on here. It goes Aaron Rye, Seth Reeves, Patrick Rogers. So I don't think he's playing.
Yeah, Johnny Mack, that's essentially that's their tour championship. I think it's their only 72 hole event. It's at the Trump Doral site. That's their season ender. They go to Portland the weekend before July 4th, July 1st through 3rd there, or June 30th through the 2nd, whatever it is. And then they're at Trump Bedminster at the end of July in Jersey.
LIV?
Yeah.
LIV is coming to Miami.
Yeah. Essentially their tour championship is at Doral.
Wow.
It's Halloween weekend.
It's a good course.
Yeah. Blue Monster.
I went to the 16 Cadillac Championship there. It's interesting. By the way, do they refer to themselves as Live or LIV?
Heard both.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's the Live Tour.
Also, is there like a commissioner?
Greg Norman.
Oh, Greg. That's right. Whoops.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Our buddy Seth Everett to join us in a little less than 20 minutes' time. Thanks so much for being with us. Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, Venice, and those of you in Southwest Florida in the 239. Looking forward to seeing over 100 of you, nearly 150 of you, Saturday at our golf tournament. Thanks so much for helping us sell it out and all that. Going to raise some money for a couple of good causes.
Well, the LIV Golf Series is the gift that just keeps giving, David.
Okay.
Yesterday, they had their presser that was very awkward.
Yes.
Graham McDowell did not have a good look when asked about sport washing. And they're putting, I mean, the golfers know it. They got the money. And then they're getting stuck in front having to answer some really uncomfortable questions that we don't typically make athletes answer.
Right.
We didn't do this to any of the NBA players about China. We didn't do this when these players went and played in Dubai before. But now we are. So they have to take it. They're getting paid a boatload of money to take it. But it looks as if the story out there now is that they've added 2 more players to their list.
Now, not for this week's event, because that field is set, and they elected 12 captains, and they selected their team. So that 48-man field is set beginning tomorrow in London.
Which, by the way, they did via a private party selecting these teams.
Right.
When the NBA and the NFL make television shows out of things like this, to make the first ever draft in pro golf history a private event was a stupid marketing idea.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know how many people would be interested.
Doesn't
in
matter.
This. Well,
You're doing a one-of-a-kind thing. You've got to act like you're doing something that's never been done before and get it out there publicly.
So you would have done it on YouTube or Facebook
Absolutely.
at least, because we've talked about that. They do not have a network deal in this country. They have 30 such broadcast deals internationally, but in the States, if you want to get them, it'll be YouTube, it'll be Facebook, or it'll be whatever the LIV site is, .com, LIV something, LIV series, LIVgolf.com, one of those two.
But they've added a couple of names. I mean, literally just happening in the last 5 minutes. David and I trying to make sure we could get a couple of sources, and we think this is for certain. But Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Reed are joining the LIV Golf Series.
How about that? A couple of major champions, a couple of younger guys. Now, Patrick Reed is not a surprise, I don't think, to a lot of people, and I don't think it'll surprise a lot of people on tour. I mean, let's face it, he's a different dude. He certainly goes to the beat of his own drummer and all that with his family dynamic, et cetera. Doesn't seemingly have a ton of friends on tour. Patrick Reed also, is not the golfer that he was 3, 4, 5 years ago either.
No, he's not.
So, and Patrick Reed was being whispered about loudly in the first few months of 2022 that he would be one of the serious candidates for this. DeChambeau, though, who was being mentioned 4 months ago, but like DJ, emphatically peeled away and said, I'm all in on the PGA Tour.
And specifically after Phil made his comments, DeChambeau had to basically choose and chose the PGA Tour publicly.
That was then. This is now. So the Telegraph was the first one to report this in the UK. That's a major media outlet in the kingdom.
Sky Sports is also reporting the same now, and they're adding a name, but I've only seen this name on their report, so we'll wait and see if we see the name again. But Ricky Fowler's being rumored as being a third, and I only have it from the Sky Sports tweet.
Okay.
But DeChambeau and Reed, now I've seen in 3 different places over the course of the last 10 minutes.
Is this enough if you were in the PGA Tour's inner circle to begin to cause you? Because I don't think that the list before this morning is enough to cause you to behave any differently. I got to be honest. It's a bunch of guys in their 40s, Phil's in his early 50s, and then it was DJ. And I don't know how many people buy tickets to tournaments, and I don't know how many people watch golf on television for DJ. So if on the PGA Tour, I'm okay. If that's the best they could do, I'm all right. We'll penalize them harshly, and we'll just move on. Now it looks as if others are going,
DeChambeau's a draw.
Yes.
Young people really like Bryson DeChambeau, and old people really don't. And that's okay, too.
And I do think he moves the needle a little bit.
A touch.
Right. No. I mean, listen, you take Tiger out of the equation.
Throw him out. Who's moving the needle more than DeChambeau that's on the tour right now? Rory.
Wow. That's interesting.
I think Rory does.
Okay.
But it's a small, I mean, we can name him on one hand, I think.
Well, Rory and maybe Spieth, right? Those two. I mean, talking about, and these are guys that just move at a half a ratings point. I mean, I would throw Phil still in that. If Phil ever contended to get an event, people would have been watching.
Oh, absolutely. But Bryson moves it a lot more than DJ moves it.
I agree.
Like Rory's the only guy that I think's in DeChambeau's category.
I think Spieth's close. I think he moves it a smidge. Not much more, but I actually think Jordan Spieth moves it. Like if a golf tournament would do 2 million viewers, if Spieth's in contention to win, I think it does 2.3.
But what I'm more worried about if I'm on the PGA Tour running an office there right now is that, okay, we lost DJ. We lost Phil. We kind of expected that. But now you've lost DeChambeau, Fowler, and Reed. How many more? Now that it's out, you can play the British Open. You can play the U.S. Open. You can play the Masters.
Well, for those of us of a certain age, this is beginning to have, I mean, you could go all the way back to the 70s in the World Football League and the WHA if you want, in which literally those leagues were buying players away from the NHL and the NFL. But this is now starting to have a USFL feel to it in the first year or two of the USFL.
And whichever one you want to choose, the World Football League was the one I thought of because USFL to me was getting college guys, which the LIV Tour is doing as well. But the World Football League was grabbing.
Right. Zonka kicked Warfield away from the Dolphins. I mean, they broke up their dynasty, basically.
Yes. And, that's what I'm seeing.
Bobby
right
Hull and a few others went to the WHA. Gordie Howe, left. And in the mid-70s, they left. So, yeah, there's a little bit of that in the NHL.
So the difference, though, between the USFL and the World Hockey League and the World Football League, World Hockey Association, is that the pockets of the LIV Golf Series are deeper than anything we've ever experienced that's taking on a major sports league.
Well, let's be honest. They're deeper than the PGA Tour.
Far deeper.
I mean, they can stand there with their arms folded, look at them and go, hey, if you want to do a bidding war, we'd love that. You tell us the date and time and we'll be there. You can talk about your pension all you damn want. Okay, we're offering 8 figures up front to join our tour. That's just for the average player on our tour. We offered DJ $1.25. We offered Phil $200.
And, Norman said they offered Woods an obscene, he didn't even say what the number was. He just said it was an obscene amount of money.
Think about it. If they offered Phil $200, reportedly, Tiger had to be offered $500 million. Had to have been.
The one mock-up of the kid that does all the voices overseas. It says, Tiger, I got offered $1 billion to play. No, just to stand there and wave.
So that's the report. DeChambeau and Patrick Reed to the LIV Tour. Seth Everett next. Mark, we're playing golf.
Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com to sign up now.
I'd like to thank Budweiser, Twin Peaks, and Southwest Florida Golf Carts. Got some good stuff there, flgolfcarts.com.
Where are you going to go? floridasportsnetwork.com. Sign up for our tournament Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Your golf will include your foursome and a chance to have lunch and awards after.
Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What's up, Seth?
Hi, guys.
Hi, Seth.
How is everybody?
Pretty well. How about you?
I'm good.
It's one of those 3 weeks for me, though, Seth.
What'd you say?
School ended last week, and summer camp for my daughter doesn't start until February. So it's that whole pain in the ass.
I hear you. I feel you. My kid is being taken out of school this week to go to a horse show.
There you go.
She's competing.
June was when a lot of the class trips used to happen, Mark, in Jersey. Last couple of weeks of school, it'd be like, okay, let's go to the Museum of Natural History. Who wants to sign up and go?
Well, we figure she's not learning anything. She'll have a great experience. So she's going up to Saugerties.
All right.
You guys were talking about that golf thing. That's part of what we did Sports with Friends on.
Who'd you end up with yesterday again?
This guy, Dan Kaplan, senior sports business writer at The Athletic. We covered 3 topics, that one, and then these 2 others. The Bronco valuation came up, too. I'm sure you guys talked about that. I went on in Denver last night.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Mark, can I play for you a quick soundbite from the new Lakers head coach Darvin Ham about? Oh wait, hold on.
Darvin Ham, native of Saginaw, Michigan. By the
Yes, but listen to this.
How will you deal with the stress and pressure?
Can't hear it.
What'd you say?
Can't hear it.
Nope. Hold on.
How will you deal with the stress and pressure of being a first-time coach with a franchise that expects to win titles all the time?
I grew up in Saginaw, Michigan. I was shot in the face by accident April 5th, 1988. You go through something like that, it's going to do one or two things. It's going to make you fearful or fearless. It made me fearless. I don't feel no pressure. It's basketball.
Got my vote.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
How's the family, Seth?
Everybody's good. Yeah, just my mother closes on her house tomorrow. She's selling her house, so
Right.
that nightmare will be over. Have you guys seen the story about Nessun? If you guys want to talk about this.
No.
All right. There's a Nessun streaming app. And
$30?
Yeah. I can get it to you for about 2/3. That's another thing we talked about on Sports with Friends.
Well, I wanted to talk about that because just is that the future, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, sure. Also, Arsenal's playing in July in Orlando. I think we should start to have a little road trip. Catch some football. Let's watch some football.
Who are they playing? The Orlando football team?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, do they play? I mean, is it
no? You might be
Premier League team, or are they playing the Orlando FC? I mean, what? Do you know who they're playing?
Stand by.
Okay.
10 seconds.
Not going to know that.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. You're just joining us. Headlines at the moment. Tampa Bay evens the series with the Rangers at 2 with a 4-1 win last night.
Yeah, they do.
Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight in Boston. Warriors and Celtics tied at a game apiece. Joe Madden fired by the Angels because they had lost 12 in a row. It's now 13 after they lost last night. New York Times with a story about Deshaun Watson. Makes his situation worse. And the Telegraph out with a story in the last half hour saying that Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Reed are also joining the LIV Golf Series. And with that, our buddy Seth Everett, who's already chimed in, joins us. He of the 3 great podcasts, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and Tech Stream. You can follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Hey, Seth.
Good morning, guys. It's a great hockey morning for you.
Why do you hate the Rangers?
Why? Because I'm a New Jersey Devils fan, and they are my
Is it end
sworn
there?
enemy. They are the Lex Luthor to my Superman, the Joker to my Batman. I hate them more than I hate everyone else. And the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Go Lightning. Because I don't even like the Lightning.
So we know that Seth's
Mika
rooting for the
Zibanejad
Avs.
is a weasel. Chris Kreider's a punk. And I don't want to watch them anymore.
I may be enjoying this run more for the angst it's causing Seth than for the joy it's giving me.
It's brutal. Get rid of them.
Hey, look, it's fantastic. It could have been Carolina in Tampa.
Yeah,
and
really.
This is a lot
Carolina Tampa would have been a great series.
better. Right.
Right.
It would have been set hockey back another 20 years. I mean,
I was a Caniac for a week.
Caniac.
Colorado's going to beat either one of them, though.
No, I don't know about that.
They don't have goaltending.
And the injury to Kadri could really cost them.
Yeah.
That's a big injury.
I know this. I'll be tuned in.
Yeah, And so will the two of us, that is for sure. By the way, we mentioned a few things there. You have any thoughts about this whole LIV golf series and DJ and Phil and now others following? And it looks as if golf is finally going to have what the other sports have had, a USFL for the NFL, a WHA for the NHL.
Well, the one thing, it was one of 3 sports business topics that we did this week on Sports with Friends. I had a great sports business writer, Dan Kaplan from The Athletic, join me. And the only question that I raised is I do not understand, since these players are not under contract and they are independent contractors, why they can't play in both. And whose rule is this? Is it a PGA rule? Because if it's a PGA rule, then they're pig-headed. They need these guys to come back, and I think they'll welcome them back with open arms. Is it because of the Saudi connection? I don't think so. It doesn't seem like that nefarious in the way this is all playing out. I think that if these guys are going to be free agents and they can play anywhere, they should literally play anywhere. Play in this live tour, live LIV, whatever you want to call it, and then play in the PGA tournament. And the U.S. Open basically said that. They're all welcome. So I just think that, yes, they're going to be competing, but as long as they don't schedule their majors on the same weekend, there's enough weekends to go around.
Well, that's not what the PGA Tour has nothing to do with the majors. They have absolutely zero to do with the 4 majors.
No. But what I'm saying is the PGA Tour, as long as they know when their schedule is, schedule your events around it. There's enough golf for everybody. This is the naive golf that thinks that they don't need Dustin Johnson and those other guys, DeChambeau and all these guys. They need all of them. This is a post-Tiger world.
I would argue the only one even close that the DeChambeau actually is fascinating because he moves the needle a touch. The PGA Tour doesn't need Dustin Johnson and Sergio Garcia. They're going to get their same 3.2 rating whether they play or not, Seth.
Well, that's fair. That's like saying that if the 3 of us played in the NCAA tournament, it would get the same rating. Yeah, but there's that argument too.
It's the same rating, Seth. Golf has gotten the same rating for a decade. It doesn't matter who's on the damn tour. Golf gets what it gets. It doesn't need. Dustin Johnson can't put together 3 sentences in a row and sound intelligent. But no one needs Dustin Johnson out there. DeChambeau,
we did a podcast with Dustin Johnson.
There's no way you did because he couldn't have gotten through the first 5 minutes.
All right, now I got 2 things to look up. My God, it's like a homework assignment. This
podcast. Is there
here we go.
How do you podcast?
Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and Tech Stream. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. All right, you mentioned business.
Hold on one second. Dustin Johnson, Justin Leonard, Colin Morikawa, and Tiger Woods, episode 266, a U.S. Open golf preview.
I'm going to go back and listen to that because I want to hear if Dustin Johnson actually answered any questions.
Yeah, question. Did you do a one-on-one with these 4, or did you just throw your mic?
I did a one-on-one, I think, with Leonard. I did a one-on-one with a bunch of them, but it was some slick editing, if I remember correctly.
I'll bet it was. Another reason to listen to one of Seth's 3 great podcasts. All right, we have not brought this up on this show. This was a topic that I saved for you.
Ooh.
So what is it that Nesson is charging people who want to watch Red Sox games $30 a month? What is that all about?
So this goes back to the argument that we've had about the guy who doesn't have cable and wants to watch his local team.
Right.
The way MLB.TV et al., the NBA version, the hockey version, which is on ESPN Plus, whatever they are, they market out of market games. And I've always said, if there's a 12-year-old kid in Baltimore that has an iPhone, I don't want him to not be able to see the Orioles. It doesn't make any sense. So Nesson is the first RSN that is going to create an app. It's called Nesson 360. And for $29.99 a month or $320 a year, you can get access to the Bruins and the Red Sox, and you could be across the street from Fenway Park, and you could still see them on whatever device you have. That's all well and good, and it's just a little pricey, in my opinion. And the reason why it's pricey is because there is a tech hoop that you can jump through, and I'm not expecting you guys to know this, but there is a way something called a VPN, and you can convince your computer that you are in the UK or Ireland or Botswana or wherever you want to pretend, and you can then use MLB.TV to see the Red Sox or ESPN Plus to see the Bruins, and it's a lot cheaper, and it's completely above board. These are not things. If you Googled right now, what's the best VPN out there, they would say the NordVPN. I'm not endorsing it, but that's the number one selling VPN.
It's actually the same way you can gamble in another state, quite frankly, with one
Correct.
of those apps.
Correct. That's exactly right.
I mean, you're not with Dustin Johnson here. You're with Miller and Moulton. We are aware.
Yeah, I mean, Seth, Mark was very offended. I mean, remember, talking to me, everything you're saying, I have no idea what you're talking about. But Mark is looking at me like, hey.
No, he's a tech guy. I understand.
Hey,
I meant no offense. I
you
did
got
no
a double
offense.
bird. I'm just letting you know. You got an Eli.
Mark, what does VPN stand for?
I have no idea. It's how I can get cable illegally somewhere else. That's all I need to know.
You get it.
I don't know what every acronym out there means.
You get
but
the
I know,
concept of
but
it.
I know exactly what it lies to my computer. It lies to everybody and tells my computer it's somewhere else.
Correct.
I get the concept of it.
You got it.
It's a virtual private network.
Okay, great. That's fantastic.
And so the point being is that there's always going to be an end around. And so for Bally Sports, who is considering the same thing, MSG is considering the same thing in New York. Yes Network is considering the same thing in New York as well. Considering what they're trying, there's a easy way to beat this. And as these networks try to catch up, there's just ways to get these games. And I just wonder whether or not if Nesson decided to make this for $14.99 instead of $29.99, do people then say, you know what, that's a lot easier than jumping through 9 hoops? Can I just get it? But for $30, I don't see it. That and the fact that you can cancel these things, at willy-nilly. I mean, you literally can cancel it one day and sign up the next day. And with the Red Sox struggling, I wonder how many people would do that. Whereas if you're in cable, you're not calling your cable company and going, the Red Sox lost, I am dropping Nesson. You're not doing that.
By the way, Red Sox have been 6 in a row. They are the 6th seed right now in the American League playoffs, but they had been struggling most of the year until the last 3 weeks. I agree with you. And Mark, I'm curious what the price point is for the sports fan to go down this road. I think it's no more than $10 a month. I got to be honest.
The exact number that was in my head is 10, particularly when you get ESPN Plus for $7. And despite the fact that people bitch about ESPN Plus, I finally jumped in and got it to watch you do the mega cast, and now I watch East Carolina baseball.
Yeah, it's amazing.
There's a lot of programming.
It's incredible. Oh, it's incredible.
You buck up and get that. And I did the Hulu and the Disney Plus for the kid. It's a ton of programming.
Yeah.
Why does Disney Plus have to just be for the kid? I like Disney
I'm not a Star Wars
I'm a
guy,
grown
Seth.
man.
I know I'm not a Star Wars guy. It's just not. I said I got Disney Plus for the kid. And anytime you visit Southwest Florida, Seth, and stay at the house, I want to make sure you can watch.
I have it. Thanks.
From the guest suite.
We'll get together and watch Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
Have you seen Maverick yet?
No. No. Haven't considered it.
Yeah, he said last week he had no
I'm
interest.
just wondering a week later, people change. I mean, are you going to go see
Obi-Wan
the Park?
Kenobi? There's Ms. Marvel comes out today.
Are you going to Jurassic Park?
Who? The dinosaurs? No, thanks.
Yeah, I know.
If I need video games, I can go to Twitch for that.
They've only sold about $2 billion worth of tickets. I understand. No big deal.
That stuff's boring.
All right. Whatever.
What do you got to fly in a plane for? Flying all around in circles.
If you were Roger Goodell, what would you do about Deshaun Watson? Seriously.
Great question. Great question. And I'm glad that this is coming out not right before training camp. There's something that has to come out. I mean,
yeah, but what do you do? I mean, what do you do? Like, we're wondering if you're the NFL, do you Trevor Bauer him? And we don't just mean what ended up being 2.5 years.
Indefinitely suspend him.
Yeah, because think about how they did it. They paid him for the first half a season that he missed while they figured out what they were going to do. And now they give him a 2-year suspension where no one's going to pay him and he'll sue and whatever. And so we're wondering, if you're the NFL, do you go, yeah, we got to Trevor Bauer this guy?
But Cleveland didn't know that there were more that he was not out of legal hot water. Like, just because there were no criminal charges, Cleveland didn't know that.
Yeah, but Seth, to us, it's irrelevant. I mean, first off, Cleveland knew. We could argue they're dumb, they're not dumb, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is a league issue. I'm asking you.
Justin
You're
Johnson dumb?
Hell, forget the Browns. What are you doing with him?
Yeah, I think you have to suspend him.
For how long? For the year?
I don't know. I would suspend him until all these suits are settled. Didn't he have 24 civil suits?
Right.
22 civil suits and 2 more have come forward. So there's 24 cases. Yes.
Yeah. So 24 civil suits. I would say you can't play until this is resolved.
Okay.
I mean, that's off the top of my head. I don't know. It's a very precarious situation. What I don't understand is when he was found to not be charged, what did Cleveland think? Did they think they were over it?
They trusted what the NFL told them from, and they didn't investigate. They didn't talk to any of the women.
That's wild.
And they were told not to talk to any of the women by their legal counsel, which that blows me away too, Seth.
The whole thing just sounds really weird. I mean, this is like the Ray Rice video, right? Like this news, these lawsuits, this is like the big bomb that now the NFL has to react the second time.
Right, but they didn't suspend him for 2 games like they did initially to Ray Rice, and then the video came out and they upped it tremendously. All right, we're pressed for time. Sports with Friends Hall of Justice text stream, go.
Well, Sports with Friends, Dan Kaplan, we cover the NESN stuff. We also talk about franchise valuations, even when sports struggle. How are the Arizona Coyotes worth nearly $1 billion? It makes no sense to me. Hall of Justice, Mark Guggenheim. He is the architect behind the CW's Arrowverse. He's an executive producer on all the CW shows, meaning The Flash and Arrow and Supergirl, and he did the big crossovers. Mark Guggenheim is our guest. And for text stream, should you spy on your kids? There are all kinds of apps to let you spy on your kids' phones. But what's the line? And how much should you give them freedom when you have all these troubling things that are going on in schools with bullying and all kinds of stuff? How involved should you be?
Wow.
And we don't give parenting advice. All we do is, give you what's available.
All right. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and Text Stream, the 3 great podcasts that Seth Everett is a part of. Follow Seth on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Seth, thanks for your time. All the best, buddy.
See you guys on the PGA Tour.
See, he's got the Dustin down.
He's working on it.
I have to go back and listen to that.
Seth Everett joining us here on Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. The Florida Sports Network. David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Mark, we're playing golf.
Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com to sign up now.
I'd like to thank Budweiser, Twin Peaks, and Southwest Florida Golf Carts. Got some good stuff there, flgolfcarts.com.
Where are you going to go? floridasportsnetwork.com. Sign up for our tournament, Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Your golf will include your foursome and a chance to have lunch and awards after.
Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. featuring band attachments to your feet and hips. Power strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a power strap kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
And it just hit me walking back in. You're like, just came out of the. I think if I stay in here, it's better. Like when you get up and leave, it's.
Just ran into AJ. So that's the second time I've seen him since we've been here. So we've been here
6 months.
no, 8.
8.
Been here 8. Next week it'll be 8. We started October.
Well, I told you
12th.
wanted to get all those things.
Well, I know that was like 3 weeks ago.
Right.
I mean, but man, there's a lot of things going on in the sports world. Hey, so so what is it that you would do? Because like I'm going to reach out to this James guy and just say, and I don't know if I'll do it today. I'll probably wait until after the tournament's over, and because their next event's not for another 3 weeks, and just say that, you know, hey, I'm available. My co-host is available. He knows golf. Okay, you know, we're available. Put us to work.
Research. I'd go. I mean, anything in the
travel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea if they're going to want us to, you know, us. I don't know if, you know, they specifically, when he contacted me, he said remote. So he made it sound as if, you know, you would just do work from home.
Hey, great. But when there's tournaments in the States, if they need, you know, I mean, I would.
Okay.
Because the thing is, with what our show is, I guarantee you, when they're in the States, they're not playing until 1 o'clock if they're doing shotguns.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think they're going to be 1, 2 in the afternoon. They're
Right.
going to play the afternoon.
Which the more I think of for this, the TV window, you know, golf's on CBS, and we could actually talk about this here. Golf's on CBS. First off, they're on the Golf Channel from 1 to 3. And then they're on CBS from 3 to 7.
Well, and they're on ESPN Plus all morning, or Golf Channel Plus, or whatever. Paramount, you know.
Right.
Peacock, whatever.
Right.
No, it's a full day. Oh, no, it's 12 hours of golf coverage every day.
Now, from a fan standpoint, you get to see a lot more golf.
Right.
If you're going to the event. But we don't do anything anymore for the paying customer, really. Yeah, someone was talking about this in our chat room here. They're playing your national anthem on the saw on Get Up right now. Whoever was talking about that, I don't know if it was you, Arch, or you, RBC. One of you mentioned it.
Did you hear it though? Like, have you heard it?
I heard it's really, really good.
It sounds like alien noises.
Well, Arch, going back to how does the grand jury not charge him?
Because they didn't think they could convict.
And Rusty Hardin, Deshaun's attorney, may be right. As lewd and as uncomfortable and awkward and even disgusting as many of the allegations are against Deshaun Watson, none of them may be illegal. May.
I don't know. Ejaculating on a woman's leg.
Well,
that's illegal.
it sounds to me like it is, but it does go back to, do people want to go to trial? Will they testify?
Right. No, I mean,
Right.
but
Right. Oh, I know. Yes. What's being alleged in the civil suits, certainly some of them sounds criminal. But remember, the threshold's 51% in a civil suit.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Thanks for getting over it with us here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. You miss any part of our show? Well, we podcast the show, and Felipe does a really good job of getting each hour up very quickly. So if you missed in our 7 o'clock hour, about a 15-minute conversation we had with Andy Baskin of The Fan in Cleveland about the whole Deshaun Watson mess. Seth Everett joined us late last hour for his weekly visit. You miss any interviews? Go to floridasportsnetwork.com and catch up.
okay, this Live Live tour. The more I think about it, the more I'm intrigued. Because you brought up the point earlier in the week. Was it Woodland tried to give away tickets?
Westwood,
sorry. Tried to give away tickets and basically couldn't give them away.
Right. He had 100 free tickets to give away. It's in London. He's English, pretty popular. He's got 1.5 million followers. Gave away like 12.
I got you. Golf in person sucks. Going to a golf tournament. Unless it's a ball to go drink at. I remember going to the Buick Open a lot. Went with my father, followed some people around. Once in a while, we'd know somebody locally, and that's great. I had a lot of great memories with my dad. My memories of the Buick Open that I think were fantastic was when I went with a group of guys, and the 17th hole at Warwick Hills became one of the biggest party spots on the PGA Tour.
Became your 16th at Phoenix.
It was before the 16th at Phoenix. It was a legendary hole, and happened to be lucky enough to be there 2 years in a row when it kind of happened. So it was a ball, but you don't see a whole lot of golf. You sit at a par 3 and watch every group come in. Golf is best consumed, like a lot of sports, on television. And right now, the PGA Tour is on TV. If you like golf, I don't know if you could possibly watch all the golf coverage you get. They start at 1 on the Golf Channel to watch the guys that aren't in the tournament, who aren't really playing all that well, but we give you 2 hours of them anyhow. Then we come on CBS or NBC at 3 o'clock, and we go 3 to about 7. So they're on for 6+ hours every Saturday and Sunday, not even to get into the streaming stuff.
Right. In which, the majors, it's sun up to sundown coverage, but it's damn near that for most PGA Tour events now.
Most television products, when you get that much coverage, it doesn't help the audience. It actually can hurt the audience. What have we found where we're going when we select time slots? Soccer, 2-hour time frame. Even the NFL, we know that sucker's done in 3:15 at the very latest, preferably 3. If they're doing shotguns for all these tournaments with limited fields, from a television standpoint, and that's all that matters. We don't care about people attending games anymore the way we once did. All we care about is a television audience. They may be producing a really good television product.
Especially if they keep the fields to under 72.
I'd love Norman to try just one more thing. And I'll tell him the next time we interview him. You want to really help the game of golf? Because there's a lot of arguments that this isn't helping the game of golf, and I think you could make a case for that.
I do think it's going to help tremendously the game of professional golf. Like, I think the PGA Tour is not going to have any choice here. The guys that are going, and if you missed it, there's a report out there for an hour now that Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Reed are also going. That they've signed up with the LIV series, and they're going to be in the next one, which is at the end of June in Portland. There are 8 events on the LIV Tour this year, reportedly going to be 10 next year. I think this is going to be a total game changer for how the pros, Mark, are going to be treated.
Gotcha. You want to help the game of golf? Put a time limit on these guys. Say we're coming on at 1 o'clock and it's over at 5 because we have 4-hour rounds.
Well, why not let them play with carts? I mean, Norman, who also is in the cart business. Remember, we interviewed him, 5 years ago? And he, had the carts with the technology and what have you. I mean, if I were the LIV series, I'd actually let guys, if they want to play with carts, play with carts. I wouldn't have a problem with it. We're not the PGA Tour. We can make our own rules, quite frankly. I mean, they could have
out pink golf carts.
But Mark, in all seriousness, if they wanted to, there are a few things, and we're golf nerds. The two of us, we are. I think we qualify. We talk a lot of golf, and it's not just because we're on the west coast of Florida. I think if this show had ever been relocated and we were in Charlotte, I think we'd talk a lot of golf. We're into it. But, there are a couple of rules that I would change. To me, you should never have to play a shot out of a divot. To me, that should be ground under repair. That should be a free drop. I mean, if they wanted, they could change some of the rules. This is the LIV series. We're doing things a little differently.
But, and by the way, I'm all for that. But I think you would agree if they could redo. I mean, these guys take an eternity to play the game of golf.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
It's 5.5-hour rounds on tour. You get 48 guys out there. Start shortening the amount of time it takes these guys to play. It's golf after all.
If you were running this tour, would you ever have a field bigger than 54? That's 18 threesomes. They're all playing at once. Everybody's got their own hole. So even if one group starts to be a little faster or a little slower, I mean, you're creating a whole hole of separation, not a half a hole or 2/3 of a hole. You're creating basically 15 minutes of separation. Would you ever do fields bigger than 54?
I don't think it's needed. I don't think it's needed.
I'm with you, by the way. 4.5 hours. So whatever that times out, that's 270 minutes, 18 holes. That's 15 minutes a hole. Boom, done. That would be our time limit. And I would be strict about it. You get one warning. Just so you know, you guys are over. You guys are over. And we're going to do it every 3 holes. And if there was a ruling or this, that, and the other thing, and that's the reason why, we'll make note of that. And we'll give you a couple minutes. But we'll give you 3 holes. You got to do 3 holes in 45 minutes. You're late, we're going to warn you and just say, just so you know, you do the next 3 holes in more than 45 minutes, it's a stroke.
Par 5s reaching in 2 becomes a little bit of an issue, but I don't think it's that outlandish to try something like this. And that, to me, as everybody said, this isn't good for golf. This is bad for the sport. I don't know if it's good or bad for the sport. I think it could be great for the sport if Greg Norman decides to be innovative with his tour. And I think the things you talked about, whether it's carts, the ground under repair, certainly a time limit, trying to sell this to a network. Hey, we're going to be on at 1. We're off at 6. And the whole thing's done.
Right. And
that's
just
pre and post, by the way, too.
Yeah, no. I mean, 108 or 110 is the shotgun start. Right. We'll give you a chance to set it all up, blah, blah, blah. However long you want. You want to drag it out to 112, 113, whatever. And then that's the shotgun start. 4.5 hours. That gives you 15, 20 minutes to interview whoever you want.
They do it in all pool tournaments, but if you've seen the movie The Color of Money, they show that high shot of the 9-ball tournament starting and everybody breaking simultaneously.
Right.
The drone shot coming over the golf course of all these guys teeing off at once. And I mean, you could make the start of this into a spectacle. You could make it.
Is this the first alternative league that I'm beginning to turn you on to here?
No, because I was a big USFL fan.
No, wait, back in the day, not now.
Not now.
Less, right. No. You were Michigan Panthers, right? You were all in. Right. You went to games and everything.
So I was a USFL fan, but I'm fascinated by this league. One, they're going after a bunch of college kids and young kids and saying, hey, They gave the Piot or
Piot, I don't know.
however
Piot.
Yeah, however the hell you say his name. They gave him $4.5 million.
And we don't even know if he's any good.
Hadn't made a cut. Shot one round under par in like 6 rounds he's played on tour.
Well, they have 2 of the top 10 amateurs in the world that are in this field.
And they're amateurs, right?
And they've stayed amateur. The one kid's 15. And the other kid is the guy from Arizona State. Is it Arizona State? I think it was. That he won his match, but they lost in the final to Texas. I think the 15-year-old's 8th in the world, and the kid from Arizona State's 9th. And the Arizona State kid who, by the way, if he had turned pro this week, he'd get $120,000 minimum when he teed off tomorrow. I mean, it's...
But okay, if you're getting $4.5 million, let's just say it's 3 years, like you think these signing bonuses are. That's $1.5 million a year. You're guaranteed $120,000 to finish last.
Right.
If you finish last in 8 events, it's another $1 million.
Correct. So
$2.5 million on tour
to play 8 events.
Go look at what $2.5 million. That makes you probably $2.5 million should get you in the tour championship, right?
Yeah, pretty damn close.
You're at least playing in the one before it. You're at least to the 70, and I think you're to the 30.
Because $2.5 million on the PGA Tour is a win and then probably a third. That would add up in the average tour event. You add those 2 together, that's $2.5 million. A win and a third place. And this kid from Michigan State is 23, who's played 3 professional events and didn't break par in a single round on the PGA Tour. He's just turned himself into a millionaire. He's 23.
And think about what you've got to do to make $2.5 million on tour. And they're going to go after more of these amateurs, more of these guys coming right out. You're telling someone that's just entering tour this kid has no status.
Right.
Skip Q school, skip the Corn Ferry. We're going to put you right on the tour, and you're going to make $2 million a year. It's a no-brainer. And if they can track some of the old names and they start getting the young talent, well, they're going to be a thorn in the side of the PGA Tour really quickly.
And remember, they have more money than the Tour. Think about that. Tour, who's got the best pension system going. I mean, Phil, during one of his rants, said the Tour's sitting on $800 million, in which he said, how does a not-for-profit have $800 million, and why isn't some of that money going to us? It will be. Mark my words, it will be. Remember when Phil bashed Tom Watson and took a lot of heat for it, and he completely changed how the U.S. now handles the Ryder Cup? You wait 2 years. Phil's never going to get his reputation back. His image is tarnished. All right, he's done. You wait to see what the PGA Tour looks like in 24 to 36 months. You wait. And it's going to be because of that blankety blank. Don't kid yourself.
Miller and Moulton. They get going Thursday in London. 54 holes, 48-man field with some team thing and a bunch of team names and a draft no one watched or cared about.
And you can't watch it unless you go to Facebook or YouTube. But it's changing a sport as we know it by the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, Nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles. Check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
And he goes, yeah, you're the only name I got. And I went, oh, all right, I'll work for that. So, this week I got pretty close to whatever he's got budgeted. But, I don't know if that's going to continue. Like I said to him, I go, hey, you may after a week go, this whole remote thing's not working, or you need more, and I don't know if I'll be able to give it to you. I said to him, now, if it's working, like the event in late July is at Bedminster, I said, if you want, I'll come and do it on location for that tournament because I can go see my mom. And he goes, all right, let me think about it. Let's see how this week goes. I know there was a woman who was all over me yesterday about shit, all over me. And I'm like, I thought I gave all this to you yesterday. And she goes, yeah, well, where's this and this? And I said, well, the deal I made with James was you would get this when you woke up Wednesday morning. I go, I have a life. You guys called me last minute. I told James this is when I could do it. I go, so you'll get this. I said, you'll get it in about 3 hours. Well, I needed this already. And I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm in Florida. You're in London. I go, you'll get it in 3 hours.
Was she yelling at you in a British accent?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's cool.
It was kind of hot, but.
Kinda. What are you wearing? What?
By the way, you know who's now interested in the LIV tour? Our former producer.
Of course he is.
He finds this fascinating.
Oh, Johnny Mack, my buddy who's in golf, but he's like, I can't get enough of this.
Yeah, see, and I thought we were right about this. I'm sorry, this is fascinating.
I mean, this is the guy, he's like, he goes, by the way, this LIV thing is so effing mesmerizing, was the text I got from him yesterday. Why are golfers supposed to care more about human rights than the rest of the world is what I'm trying to figure out. Come on. Give me the blood money. Give me as much of it as you can.
So this is apparently Bonita Springs Assistance Office on Burnwood Drive in Bonita. They apparently, if you're down and out, they help you.
Okay.
It's a not-for-profit. Her dad was a longtime weather guy in Philly.
Okay.
She dated Jim Reeve for a long time.
Oh, I know her.
If it's the same person, I'm thinking.
I know who she is.
Give Teri a call. I mean, literally, I was just going to say, tell us who we're raising money for. You could say, how do people donate? I mean, there's not much to this. Just wanted to give them a little pub and thank them.
'You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day one. Final thoughts all coming up beginning in about 20 minutes. If you're just joining us, story of the morning, according to multiple sources across the pond, Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Reed are going to join the LIV Golf Series. There's one media outlet that mentioned Ricky Fowler. We have not seen any other media outlet mention him. But DeChambeau and Reed seems to be a done deal. Teri Lamaine is kind enough to join us. She's the executive director of Bonita Springs Assistance. Teri, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How are you?
Hey, David and Mark. I'm doing awesome on this wonderful Wednesday. Thank you.
And we bring Teri on the show. We want to thank Teri and also give her not-for-profit a little publicity. We mentioned that not only did we want to do the golf tournaments, Mark, to thank our audience, which has followed us through 3 acts now, but also we do want to raise some money for some charitable causes, and one of the ones that we're doing it for is Bonita Springs Assistance.
And Teri, give us a little help. Bonita Springs Assistance. What does it do? What is the method of what you guys are doing, and where the money we're raising will go to help what?
All right. Well, we are the Bonita Springs Assistance Office. We've been serving the residents of Bonita Springs. We provide a hand up, not a handout. And we've been doing it for over 40 years. What we do is we help families in need of a financial hardship due to an emergency, and they have exhausted all their resources. So we have a food choice pantry, which is refrigerated and frozen items. We have a diaper bank, an adult diaper bank. We also help people with assistance with job placement, money management, and also help keep their lights on, keep their water, and help them with rent and mortgage during a catastrophic time in their life.
And Teri, I know our paths have crossed over the years, and Bonita Springs Assistance did great work during the hurricanes a few years ago. How can people, if they want, and obviously we're going to hopefully raise a few $1,000s for you on Saturday, but if people who are not part of our golf tournament, if they want to help out Bonita Springs Assistance, how do they do it?
Well, what they can do is they can generously give monetarily at our website. Very easy, bonitaassistance.org. Or if you have friends or family in town and you don't use all of your food or items that you purchase that you don't like, we accept food donations, and we also have a pet food pantry too. So if you have a new puppy in the house, or unfortunately if your 4-legged fur baby passes away and you have extra food, we take food donations at our pantry Monday through Thursday, 9:30 to 3:30 here in Bonita Springs.
Wow. And not only helping people, but you do it for the pets as well, Teri. You're hitting all the bases there. Teri, all the best. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday if possible, and well, give all our best to your family.
Well, thank you very much. I'll give the family our best, and thank you to your sponsors and everybody involved with Saturday's golf tournament. We'll see you there, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Thank you very much.
Teri Lamaine with Bonita Springs Assistance, and Teri's father, Tom, longtime meteorologist in Philadelphia, big personality.
Well, you can see it because she's bubbly.
Right.
You
Not
can't
shy.
really do those jobs unless you're a little bubbly.
And
It's not easy.
No, she's been doing it a while. Both her and her husband were honored a few years back as the Citizens of the Year in Bonita Springs. She's devoted her life to helping others, not just Bonita Springs Assistant, but other causes. She's a terrific lady.
So part of the honorees of our golf tournament Saturday at West Bay, 8:30 shotgun, a lot like the LIV Tour.
And she mentioned our sponsors, Budweiser, Southwest Florida Golf Carts, flgolfcarts.com.
Twin Peaks.
There you go. That's some of our many sponsors. So, and for the 100 plus of you that will be there on Saturday, we look forward to seeing you. And between raffles and all that, hopefully we'll raise a ton of money for a few of the charitable causes. We may talk to one of those causes tomorrow as well.
Well, the one thing, like I said, the one thing we have in common with the LIV Tour is the shotgun start. Everything after that, I don't know if they're going to have guest putters, guest drivers on the LIV Tour. We will.
Yes.
At the Miller and Moulton tournament.
Yes. By the way, I'm thinking of bringing my zebra. I've never, brought a zebra to one of our outings. I've always gone with something a little more ping-like, but I'm thinking of bringing the zebra.
Putter's last hope. Cross-handed zebra, David.
I'm not doing cross-handed. I'm like Ray Floyd. Also, I got the staggered stance. I was never somebody who addressed putting, at least not with the zebra. I always went with the right foot in front of the left and never side by side like a golf stance. For whatever reason, with the zebra, I putted more off of the right foot. With everything else, I putted in the middle.
I'd never met anybody until you that actually liked one of these. This was a putter you bought, you used for 2 weeks, you put it in that barrel with all your other old clubs, and when things went really haywire, you like, just give me that damn zebra. If I can't fix it with that, then I'll just quit the game.
I was never a tinkerer. Like, I never had multiple drivers and more than 2 putters.
Never been able to afford multiple drivers or multiple putters.
Well, but you got to remember, when you and I first started playing the game, golf equipment is not, it's expensive now. It's genuinely expensive. Golf equipment was reasonable when you and I were teens. It was.
I had multiple putters.
I had 2.
I probably had about 4. I worked in a golf shop, so I would acquire things in the lost and found occasionally.
Bullseye and zebra, the 2 extremes. Those
probably paid me back. Now that I think about it, that I probably grabbed a wedge or a putter out of that barrel of lost clubs, and someone probably didn't get their club back. And I think it's paid me back in my adult life with, sunglasses and coolers left in carts at clubs that I've never gotten back.
Probably should have bought another driver or so over the years. I struggled with the driver.
I still do.
I know. I saw your comment in one of our.
Well, they wanted me to be the designated driver for groups. I'm a 13 handicap. I'm not that good. I want to go out with these guys that have to expect. They're going to expect greatness, and they're going to get me.
But now I think we've rigged it where we're going to grab somebody out of the clubhouse.
That's what we should be doing.
Right, ringers. Right.
That's how you do it.
Right.
Get somebody that can bomb it up there.
Just like, me on the putting green. I'm not that good, but if you hit a nice true putt, you can't give someone the read.
There's a fun TikTok account that I follow, and they try to get someone to back off. Basically, their whole point is they sit on the first tee and make comments about the person as they're teeing off to see if they can get through the swing. I may do that with the guy who's guest hitting. I may see what it takes to get this person to back off the club and just play that game.
Getting back to the LIV series, there are a few people that we play with who bring music onto the course and things like that. How far are you willing to go to, make this league a little different? And would that be, and you got to remember, we're paying these guys. They can't go anywhere. We could put a rule in and they could all hate it. And we would look at them and go, I'm sorry, what's your appearance fee again?
They could literally make every hole the 16th at Phoenix if they wanted to.
Yes. They really could. They're apparently not going to have any fans. Although, do you think they'll get any in the U.S.?
Yes.
In 3 weeks, it'll be in Portland, and they don't get PGA Tour events in the Pacific Northwest.
I'll do a little investigating between now and then because I have friends in Portland, but I have a funny feeling that people are going to show up. They support most everything. It's one of those communities. The The Timbers, the soccer team, does extremely well. The Blazers are obviously big. They have a junior hockey team that does well. I would imagine that they're going to support this event.
Late July, they're in Bedminster, New Jersey. All right. It's a terrific golf area. Trump's popular in the Northeast, and he's polarizing, but he's popular. You know, the casinos in Atlantic City, all the buildings in New York. So it's on
And
a
Phil's going to bring people.
Yes, he is. And Phil's very popular in the Northeast. Very. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts all coming up. Thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Mark, we're playing golf.
Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com to sign up now.
I'd like to thank Budweiser, Twin Peaks, and Southwest Florida Golf Carts. Got some good stuff there. flgolfcarts.com.
Where are you going to go? floridasportsnetwork.com. Sign up for our tournament Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Your golf will include your foursome and a chance to have lunch and awards after.
Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Serena didn't win 11 years between French wins? Holy crap.
Is that the one? She only won like 2 or 3 times?
Well, she won her first one today in 2002, and she won her second one in 2013.
And I don't know if she's won another one.
I don't know. Oh, that's what it was. Julianne, is it Margulies?
Margulies.
Margulies is how you say her name?
ER?
Yeah, it's her birthday. I knew there was a name on here I needed your help with.
Three wins. She won it in 02, 13, and 15. 7 Wimbledon, 7 Australian, 6 U.S. Opens, 3 French, 23. 7, 7, 6, and 3. And by the way, she's won every doubles Grand Slam trophy at least twice. She's got 4 Aussies, 2 French, 6 Wimbledon, 2 U.S. Open. So she's got 14 majors in doubles.
I wonder if how many mixed doubles she's won, because she's played a few of those too.
2. 1 Wimbledon and U.S. Open. Both in 98. Those were actually at the very beginning of her career. by the way, and she's got 4 gold medals. 3 in doubles, 1 in singles. So you're out there with the Scotty Cameron, huh, Johnny Mac? I will say golf equipment is a little too expensive for me. And I don't just mean me being cheap. I mean, I don't, because I've toyed with the idea if I'm going to get back in the game, I got to buy clubs. My clubs are 30, 40 years old. And, and then I would sign up for a series of lessons. I can't afford to.
You're $2,000
minimum.
No,
And
$2,000 to get, not minimum, about 1,500 to $2,000. I bought clubs recently.
well, but I'm thinking clubs and then lessons
Yeah,
because I got to
$2,000.
get back. So, and I'm hoping after this year I'll have it. I should. God, if we have any more family situations, but I should be at the point where I can buy clubs and play golf for 2023 and get back in it.
Love it.
I will say right now I'm having trouble with my left wrist, though. Like when I went to Topgolf the one time, I'm having trouble with my left wrist. Remember a few years ago you said your shoulder was bothering you, and I said you didn't have any aches, and I really don't. And all of a sudden when I went to Topgolf and what have you, I was having trouble with my left wrist holding onto the club properly.
Well, yeah, Johnny Mac, that's for a new Scotty. I mean, you don't have to buy a Scotty Cameron putter to play golf.
Yeah, I'm afraid Alonso broke something. I know initial x-rays were negative, but Showalter said he was really concerned after the game. And this is really going to piss me off.
Oh, Pete Alonso's hand?
Yeah.
That's messed up, dude.
If that turns out, because that'll be 6 to 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Also, Max Scherzer's dog.
Yeah, that's effed up.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$22 minutes until we're out of here. Actually, less than that because we break right before the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Lightning even the series with 2 with the Rangers. Best of 3 now with New York having home ice. Thursday, Saturday, games 5 and 6 in hockey. Tonight and Friday, back-to-back games in the NBA. Celtics and Warriors tied at a game apiece. We're in Boston for games 3 and 4. Boston only 5 and 4 at home in the playoffs, while the Warriors are only 3 and 4 on the road. All 3 of their wins were the very first road game they played in each of the 3 series to get here. So,
and that's all they need for this one.
Get one,
get your home court advantage back, and take care of business in games 5 and 7.
Although, is Boston such a good road team that realistically, if you're a Warriors fan, are you thinking, we probably need to win 2 games in Boston? Because winning 1 means you got to hold serve at home the rest of the way. You think you can win?
I would think I could go 3 and 1 at home. You've already lost 1 at home. Yes.
Right. Okay.
But I understand your point completely.
Because like Boston went 3 and 1 at Miami. They went 2 and 1 at Milwaukee, and they went 2 and 0 in Brooklyn. And so now splitting with Golden State, added up, I think they're 8 and 3 in the playoffs. So I wonder if realistically, of course the Warriors can, but realistically, if you're rooting for the Warriors to win this series, Is one more road win going to be enough?
I think it will be. I think there's a better chance that they win 4 straight.
Wow. Look at you. So you think that the fourth quarter game 1, that's the aberration. The Warriors are just better.
I think the Warriors are just better.
Well,
Klay Thompson hasn't played well yet.
No, he has not at all. He has not at all. He's shooting 30% so far in this series.
And I don't expect that to continue.
And if it changes, it'll change very quickly. That's the danger of it. If you're Boston, all around you go, uh-oh.
Right.
He's hit 2 in a row. We're in trouble now. But, we thought that the winner of game 4 between the Rangers and the Lightning was going to win the series. That was the conclusion we came to at this time yesterday. We're like, you know what? This is probably the series because we think Tampa will find a way to get one in New York. So the Rangers realistically have to get one in Tampa to cover up for the eventual home loss that they're going to have. Okay, you don't feel that way about game 3 tonight, though.
Oh, no, I think Golden State wins tonight. I do. But to your point, if Boston wins tonight, I think Boston has to win tonight to win the series.
Interesting.
I don't think Boston can win 3 of 4.
Celtics are a 3.5-point favorite.
I'm taking the points all day long.
That's the same number as basically both of the first 2 games that Golden State was favored. So there you have it. ABC, by the way, tonight. No word yet. We get Mike Breen back for tonight?
I don't know.
I mean, because Felipe, this is your thing. I mean, you love yourself some Mike Breen. So figured we have not heard. So
I need that.
You need that?
What do you need it for? You usually play it 6-8 times a show. And I know you do it during commercial. Every once in a while, I just hear you playing it over and over when we're not on the air.
Yes, but sometimes we get the double bang. Sometimes we get the voice crack bang. There's different kinds of bangs.
Sometimes you get the bang bang shrimp. They're delicious.
Sometimes I say to the lady, "Will you cut my bangs?" No. Okay. Let's do this.
Yeah.
It's a starting 5.
No, it's not.
Oh, that's right.
Today was the day when.
It's closing time. Whatever.
Starting 14:52 today, David.
Damn.
I'm sorry, 4:52, not 4:50. 4:52 because Italy was invaded by Attila the Hun, and I don't ever recall a time that Attila the Hun had made today was the day when. So today is the day.
All right.
1789, James Madison introduces this Bill of Rights to the U.S. House of Representatives.
And people have been trying to do away with it ever since.
1899, Harry Vardon wins the Open title, his third, this time by 5 over Jack White.
And by Open title, do you mean U.S.?
No, the Open Championship.
Oh, the Open Championship.
They're at St. Andrews.
Actually, it was at Royal St. George. Today in 33, Jimmy Fox hits 3 consecutive home runs as Philadelphia outscores the Yankees 14-10. He had homered in his last time up the previous day. Those 4 consecutive home runs. Today in 42, Bing Crosby records Silent Night.
That did pretty well.
1950, the Red Sox beat the St. Louis Browns 29-4 at Fenway. They would set 6 Major League Baseball records, including runs scored and most total bases in the game.
How many position players pitched for the Browns? Did they do that thing back in the day?
Don't know. Today in 55, the Dodgers option pitcher Tommy Lasorda to make room on the roster for Sandy Koufax.
Right. That worked out really well for the Dodgers.
61, Milwaukee sets a record of 4 consecutive home runs. Eddie Matthews, Hank Aaron, Joe Adcock, and Frank Thomas all consecutively had home runs in that game.
Well, and I think 3 of the 4, certainly the first 2 are Hall of Famers.
1963, the American Heart Association is the first agency to campaign against cigarettes.
Huh.
They might have been onto something.
Ahead of the curve there.
Today in 68, Don Drysdale pitches a record 58 consecutive scoreless innings.
and it took 20 years for Hershiser to break it. And he needed the final start of the regular season to go 10 innings because Drysdale went 58 2/3. And Hershiser threw 9 shutout innings in the final start of the year to get to 58. And amazingly, the game went extra innings scoreless. And so Hershiser was able to throw a scoreless 10th inning to get to 59 scoreless innings.
68, the Stones released Jumpin' Jack Flash. 69, the final Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour airs on CBS. Also today in 69, Brian Jones is asked to leave the Rolling Stones. He's replaced by Mick Taylor. MLB had a union and management. They ended their labor dispute today in 1970, David, raising the minimum salary to $12,000.
At Marvin Miller drew a hard bargain.
Today in 76, Bobby Orr signs a 5-year deal with the Chicago Blackhawks.
He didn't play all that long for him. Knees were shot by then.
78, the Braves draft Bob Horner first overall. For those of us that are old enough, we all remember watching him
Horner
on
hit
America's team.
He hit behind Murphy. All right. And there were a lot of people that thought he was the more dangerous bat.
82, the Lakers beat the Sixers 4-2 to finish that series. Also in 82, the Falklands War started.
That's right. Margaret Thatcher said, push me around. By the way, get very quickly back and after that series, that's when the Sixers said, because they had Darryl Dawkins and Caldwell Jones, and they were going up against, the front line in Boston and then eventually the Lakers, and they finally decided, you know what, this isn't working, and that's when they went out and got Moses.
83, Trading Places is released. 84, Ghostbusters and Gremlins both released. 86, the Celtics beat the Rockets 4-2. And it was also the day of the longest 9-inning game at that time. The Orioles beat the Yankees 18-9 in 4 hours and 16 minutes. Let's see. 2013, Blackhawks beat the Kings. And in 2018, the Warriors get their 3rd and 4th years sweeping the Cavs. French Open winners that won it today, Laver in 69, Borg
on his way to the Grand Slam for their 2nd time.
Borg is 3rd straight in 80. Chrissy wins her 6th, beating Martina in 85. Monica in 91. Steffi in 96. Gustavo Kuerten in 97. Serena in 2002 and in 2013. Those were her 1st and 2nd. She's won 3 of them. And Rafi won it in 2008 and 2014. Bunch of Belmont winners today. Hansel in 91, probably the most famous of the horses.
All right. And I married my wife on this day in 96.
Those that were born today that are no longer with us, Frank Lloyd Wright, Leroy Neiman, Barbara Bush, Jerry Stiller, and Joan Rivers. Those that are still with us, Nancy Sinatra is 82, Boz Scaggs is 78. Bonnie Tyler, I did this for your wife, not knowing it was your anniversary. Bonnie Tyler is the one who sang Total Eclipse of the Heart, and there's no doubt in my mind that your wife loved that song because it's kind of a heavy metal ballad.
I'll ask her.
Keenan Ivory Waynes is 64. Troy Vincent is 52. Lindsay Davenport's 46. Kanye's 45. And that is Today Was the Day When. You had the Kanye over there. You're ready for me with
one. Good one. Yay.
Yeah, that's not catching, though. I don't sense that. I know that's what he says. I'm changing my name and all that. I don't sense that people are calling him Ye.
Ye's always been a nickname, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I know, but didn't he come out and say I'm changing it too?
Correct. He changed his name to quote unquote Ye.
Right. I think everybody's ignoring it.
Because he's Kanye West.
But it's kind of like when people say, which do you prefer, Dave or David? I prefer David. And they go, okay, Dave. I mean, the guy did come out and say, I want to be called Ye. I'm changing my name to Ye. And I'm guilty of it because when I think of him talk into a microphone for a living, I say Kanye. Everyone says Kanye.
Yay.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Bonita Springs for the good, where George Demetres went to the Circle K on Bonita Beach Road and bought a $50 500 times the cash scratch-off ticket.
Wow.
And won $25 million.
Seriously?
$25 million. Lump sum, $20,560,000.
Listen, I'm not kidding. I don't buy scratch-offs. I mean, my wife's...
It was a $50 scratch-off.
Oh, I understand that, but I didn't realize you could win that much money with a scratch-off. I mean...
I didn't either. Kind of why honestly, I looked at that. I saw it yesterday on social media.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow is right.
Tank of gas or buying a scratch-off, though? That's a big decision.
For the bad, we go to San Francisco, where hundreds of residents of a luxury downtown apartment building were evacuated because all 35 floors were flooded after a 6-inch pipe burst on the top floor, and water started gushing through hallways and rooms. On the second floor, it was dripping from the ceiling. That's what you get for spending all that money to live in a high-rise.
Yeah.
Finally, the ugly, we go to Northport, where a 49-year-old man went out for a late-night dart and nearly died. He was at the Warm Mineral Springs Motel in Northport when he went out to get a dart a little after midnight. And he saw something moving near the shelf path. He assumed it was a dog on a long leash, so he didn't move out of the way. It wasn't a dog. There was no leash. It was an alligator, and it attacked him.
Whoa!
Fortunately, the injuries were not too bad. He was bitten. Proper people got a hold of the gator and do what they do. 7-foot gator attacked him. That's the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June the 8th, 2022.
What did he think it was again?
Thought it was a dog.
7-foot dog, huh?
Well, to the Florida man, a gator is like a dog.
It's a good point. He just thought he could put it out with a cigarette.
2 baseball games today in the afternoon. Think about this. If you're in Pittsburgh, I would think the weather'd be decent. 12:30 Tigers and Pirates at that stadium. With the water, with the river right out.
Beautiful.
Got to play hooky today in Pittsburgh. Also, 2 o'clock. Really, it's 1 o'clock in Kansas City. They're hosting the Blue Jays. Worst team in the league, Kansas City. At home. Marlins home for the Nats. They're minus 210 tonight because they got Alcantara pitching. Strasburg, by the way, returns tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Okay.
Steven Strasburg's been out a long time. Had that thoracic outlet surgery that pitchers don't really come back from. This ain't like Tommy John where they come back and sometimes they're not only as good but better. The thoracic outlet surgery, nobody comes back and is as good as they were before. So, but Marlins hosting the Nats at 6:40, 7:10. Rays hosting the Cardinals. A couple of playoff teams in action.
And Twins and Yanks again.
Yeah.
They can't set the odds high enough to bet on the Twins. It's
Well,
like minus 170 for the Yanks at their second home park.
They own that franchise. I mean, they absolutely own the Twins. It is remarkable.
Maybe as much as one team owns another in any sport.
The Twins never have enough power pitching to get the Yankees to miss. The Yankees make contact against Twins pitching. That's the problem.
Like how the Saints own the Bucks?
Even more so.
Even more so.
Miller and Moulton. Have a great rest of your hump day. And thanks so much for listening to us here on the Florida Sports Network. Mark, we're playing golf.
Saturday, June 11th, a scramble at the West Bay Club in Estero. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com to sign up now.